I got a feeling that from the story, I believe that this is going to be the end. So we'll see how it goes. So are we ready? Are we ready, folks? So let's jump in with Kano's story, since we begin everything with Kano and going to finish with Kano. There you go. So he walks out. Arriving back at the Shibuya precinct, Kano hurried to the interrogation room. Yeah, he needed to talk to Al Karawan, since he was the guy who got the suitcase first, and he was kind of the leader. No, not the leader, because there's a mastermind named Alfred we haven't met yet. But I got a feeling that it's Leland Palmer for some reason, because they mentioned a tutor, like a foreign tutor who seems to know the twins very well. But I don't know how well he knows them, so that's why I got a suspicion. I suspect Leland Palmer to be Alfred. So, with the investigation currently on hold, he knew that taking any official action would be tricky. If he was going to break through this stalemate, he was going to need Tateno's help. The abduction, the ransom, the attaché case relay, Maria's release, and then Tanaka's death. Maybe Tateno would be able to figure out how all these elements were related. But first, Kano needed to check something for himself. Tateno would never have let Al Karawan go free. Kano needed the prisoner to set the record straight. Yeah, Al Karawan sat in the precinct interrogation room looking brazen and cocksure. One glance at his face and Kano was reminded of what had happened to Sasayama. Fresh anger smoldered at the edge of his mind. Yeah, because 2 hours ago, Sasayama intercepted him, and he stabbed him in the chest, and he left him in the critical condition. So we have no idea how's he doing, if he's gonna make it out, because like when you're in critical condition, like it's gonna take more than an hour to save a man's life, even though like anything can happen inside 2 hours. Like he could stay in critical condition for long, but I believe that 5 p.m. the record will be set straight regarding Sasayama. But we'll see. There were 2 detectives already in the room. It seems he wasn't made privy to the details, one of them told Kano. Sounds like they were following orders, carrying that attaché case around, the other added. Kano sat across from Al Karawan. There's something I'd like to ask you, he said. We were just paid to do a job. I don't know anything more than that. His Japanese was imperfect, but he understood the language well enough. Tell me, how did you manage to escape from Detective Tateno? Escape? I didn't. A faint smile came to Al Karawan's lips. Yeah, his weird yellow lips. He let me go free. Liar! Detective Tateno would never do that. Kano slammed the desk with his fist. I didn't have handcuffs on, did I? He took them off for me. This had to be a lie. It's not like there weren't other ways to remove a pair of handcuffs. After he took off the handcuffs, Al Karawan continued, he pointed his gun at me. Cut the crap! Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. But Al Karawan went on, unperturbed. He kept the gun pointed at me, but he didn't pull the trigger. So that's when I ran. Why would Detective Tateno want to shoot you? Because I saw him. Saw him? Saw him do what? Let me tell you something interesting, Al Karawan said sardonically. There was that girl who was carrying the ransom, right? Kano pictured Hitomi standing anxiously beside the statue of Hachiko. That guy Tateno was trying to kill her! In a fit of rage, Kano drove his fist into Al Karawan's face. His colleagues rushed in to interpose himself. Kano! Calm down! Knocked on the floor, Akarawan gingerly fingered his split lip. And after I give you such good info too, he grumbled. Detective Tatano was assigned to protect you, Tomiosawa, Kano shouted. You can't expect me to believe you're rubbish. He lounged around the table, ready to throw another punch, but his fellow detective held him back. Alcarawan looked away indifferently. It's your Detective Tatano you should be arresting, not me. That girl's going to get killed. You need to stop. You need to step in line, pal, Kano bellowed. Kano! His colleague shouted. You're the one who needs to step in line. Go and cool off for a bit. Expelled from the interrogation room, Kano immediately pulled out his cell phone and called Tateno's number. Please pick up. He clutched on his phone tight, pleading under his breath. But Tateno didn't answer. Kano sat down in a chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found himself holding the present Sasayama had gotten for his wife. I have to do something. Just don't know what I'm supposed to do. His restlessness gnawed at him like a rabid animal. Hey, Kano! He looked up to see Kuze standing beside him, his expression grave. I have an update on Sasayama, the director began. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. It seems the knife went in deep enough to do some organ damage. He's in critical condition. I see. Kano bit his lip hard. His handkerchief, red with Sasayama's blood, clung to the wrapping paper of Sasayama's present. Kano peeled it away carefully so as not to tear the paper beneath. What's that? What's that? Asked Kuze. Sasayama and me to hold on to this for him. It's a present for his wife. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, Director Kuze, for ignoring your orders. Kano's eyes remained fixed on the gift as he spoke. When you get down to it, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me. Some kind of punishment was surely headed his way for acting alone as he had. Probably wasn't getting out of this one with a simple written apology. But Kuze calmly shook his head. What happened to Sasayama isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, he said. As far as this case goes, I've been given quite the runaround myself. There was a rare note of vulnerability in Kuze's voice. The higher-ups have barely let any information trickle my way, but they're still ordering me around non-stop. It's a real pain in the ass. Kuze felt silent, ruminating. The quiet lingered between the two men for several moments before he abruptly spoke again. Oh, right. I'd like to get your opinion on something. So, Mamoru Tanaka, who we found in the Vinimat, you know? What you think? Should we ought to maybe release his name to the media? Kuze slipped into his childish register. He was clearly exhausted. After dealing with the kidnappers, baffling actions, and too much meddling from the higher-ups, even a veteran like Kuze is just beat. But that's not the only reason for his exhaustion. Kuze has a brother, 6 years his senior, who despite being nominally mature, refused to get a real job and shows no inclination to settle down with a family. He walks around day after day dressed like a hippie and treating passerby to song he's written. Kuze has been worrying about his shiftless brother for years now. The guy has become a chronic source of consternation. Why did the game talks about him? We never saw his brother. We never saw this hippie passerby singing in the street singer. We never see him in any of the stories. So why are you talking about now? Kano was thrown by the question. It was a rare thing for the director to seek an opinion from a mere junior detective. It feels like there's something not too normal about one of Kenji Osawa's subordinates dying, Kuze went on. Kano had the same thought. This felt too intentional to be a coincidence. So here's the question. Should I get the media involved and try to rush for a resolution, or should I be more cautious? What would you do? What about releasing the name? Kano asked. That wasn't such a simple thing to answer. There were so many factors to consider. A tired smile came from Kuze's face. Oh, don't think about it so hard. This is just so I have a point of reference. Tell me what your gut says. Yeah. Yes, no, or I can't make a decision. I think we should hold back for now. Kuze rumbled. We still don't know if Mamoru Tanaka was murdered or if he committed suicide, Kano pointed out. We should at least wait until we know that much. This case has so many loose ends that could lead in the dangerous directions. Yes, it's true. It would pay to be as prudent as possible. Kuze paused for a moment and thought, then nodded. I see what you mean. All right, then. Then, without another word, he headed back towards the conference room. On the TV, the governor's press conference was still going on. Yeah? When was that? Was this last hour? I've just requested that each of the railroad companies, starting with JR, stop running trains to Shibuya Station until further notice. As far as the roads go, Route 246 has already been closed to traffic. The executive looked pale as he spoke to the crowd. Is there any possibility of a bioterrorist attack? What about the people who are staying in Shibuya? The reporters unleashed a barrage of questions. The governor's face crunched up. As I've already made clear, this is not a complete blockade. Because modern Japan does not have a system for enacting martial law, there are few ways that the government could effectively quarantine Shibuya. In the case of a potential viral infection, the infectious disease law allows for the city to be partitioned into areas of restricted movement. If the authorities do not want to acknowledge the existence of the top-secret war virus, however, taking such an action would be rather tricky legally. Yes, I would agree. There's nothing to stop anyone from leaving Shibuya on foot. Isn't what you're describing de facto martial law? Spat one reporter. Of course not, the governor snapped. You should be well aware that martial law is illegal. I could declare it if I wanted to. If you wanted to? So this is a bioterrorist issue then? I never said anything of the sort. The press conference was devolving into chaos. Kano was surprised given the circumstances. Unsurprised, actually. Still, everyone was doing their best insofar as they knew how. So why not me, Kano thought. It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to be doing something. Just letting time tick by without trying to take action was more than he could hear. Kano began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call, was worried about Sasayama and decided to go visit in the hospital, and thought about Sasayama's wife and decided to get in touch with her. All three actions seems good. I don't know how they're gonna affect the story, so let's try with A. Began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. You better pick up. I told you to get out of Shibuya. Get out of Shibuya, girl! The phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made Kano all the more anxious. Oh, I see. $4:30. Oh! He was staring at his phone when he got a call of his own. Who could that be? Incoming. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. There was Tateno's name. Oh, he decided to call now. Alright. Alright. Now we're getting somewhere. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call. Detective Tateno? Detective Tateno, is that you? There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had Tateno been doing this whole time? Why had he let Al-Karawan go free? And what had happened to Itomi? But while he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Tateno spoke.
I've secured Maria Osawa.
What? The word came out as a startled gasp. Detective Tateno, you have to bring her here ASAP! Right now, she's... Tateno cut him off.
You need to bring Itomi Osawa to my location at once.
Itomi. Wait... Is the assassin with the cane Tateno all along? I'm gonna give the guy his voice just for the benefit of the doubt. That probably was him. Itomi Osawa?
Yes. I've heard over the wireless the demand from the US Embassy has her in custody.
Kano had been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently Stanley had managed to find Itomi. But what was Tateno getting at here? Wait, hold on! What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Itomi Osawa to you? There was no reply. Detective Tateno, answer me! Please! Tateno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's question.
There's an office building in Nampedai called South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop.
Of course the rooftop, like in movies.
If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria.
With that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp. His phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. Oh, whoa! Kano went to South Hill in Nanpedai alone. He hadn't brought Itomi as Tateno had abandoned, nor had he reported the situation to Kuze. First, he wanted to meet with Tateno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Tateno might want with Itomi. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead-up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Tateno had seemed like the same man Kano had always revered. So why was he doing this? Kano couldn't think of a reason. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out into the open roof. The time for half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would lay his doubt at Tateno's feet. Then, soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. He took a look around, but saw no signs of Tateno. Detective Tateno! Where are you? Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times. It's Kano! I've come as you asked. Where's Itomi Osawa? Kano whirled around and he heard the voice behind him. Now we don't see his face, but... Oh no, that's him. All along, that guy was Tateno. Stepped up. But yes, Maria, that's Maria. Yeah, Tateno stepped into view from behind the water tank. He led with him a young woman bound and blindfolded. Why didn't you bring her? He growled. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? Yes, it is. Okay, that's a red letter. I can jump, but I need to unlock her... Yes, I need to unlock the 410 mark to jump. So there's gonna be a keep out, and I'm gonna go back to this point to unlock this. Alright, got it. Tateno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. With her blindfold removed, Maria slowly opened her eyes. Then she gazed past Kano, a panicked look across her face. Ah! What's this? She's pointing at something. Look over She shot her arm to point. Mirikawa? Kano whirled around in surprise. There was a man on the roof of the building across the way who looked like he was getting ready to jump. That's Mirikawa! What's he doing there? I got another jump from here? What? Why now? Kano thought to himself, but he couldn't just stand idly by while someone committed suicide. He felt a pang of disgust when he saw Tateno take in the situation with an indifferent glance, but make no move to help. Detective Tateno, I'll be right back, Kano exclaimed. We can finish this after. Without waiting for an answer, he raced for the other building. What? He's having a smoke! When he got to the second rooftop, the man was still there, staring down at the ground below. Don't do anything rash, Kano warned, hurrying towards him. When the man gave no response, though, Kano quickly halted. The stranger was still several meters away. Kano braced himself, ready to launch for the man if necessary. Let's not be hasty. Nobody is going to be happy if you jump. Still, the man said nothing, simply gazing out at the sky. Surely could hear Kano now. Okay, now remember, when we left Mirikawa, the editor committed suicide after all. So it's like, what's the point of saving the magazine now? Because, yeah, the guy killed himself. The detective continued, keeping his voice low and conversational. I got a co-worker. He's one of the most absurdly devoted husbands you could meet. All he does is brag about his wife. The man continued to ignore him. He was stabbed in the belly earlier today. He's in the hospital right now, on death's door. He was happy, but now his life might get snatched away from him anyway. Still, the man appeared unmoved. Yeah, why would he give a fuck? It was as if the words weren't even reaching him. Don't you think it's a waste to just go and throw your own life away? Kano waited for the man to respond. The stranger took a purposeful stride away from the fence towards the roof edge. Stop! Don't do it! The man unflinchingly stepped out towards empty air. No! Kano sprang forward, somehow managing to grab hold of the stranger's wrist. He yanked the man back from the edge, getting only a blank stare in response. There's a lot of room. There's at least 4 feet of ground. He's only on the other side of the edge. There's 4 more feet at least he can jump. But he's not in real danger after all. But he yanked the man back from the edge, getting only a blank stare in response. Don't go wasting your life like this! Ordinarily, Kano would have stayed and talked until he was sure this guy's death wish has passed. But there wasn't time for that right now. Maria was in just as much danger at that very moment. Whipping up his handcuff, he shackled the man to the fence. I promise I'll come back. Please, just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? Kano left the man staring in bewilderment and raced back to the South Hill building. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure he read the situation wrong. He just went there to think, having a smoke, and then he turns around. What? This cop just ties him up to the fence for no reason. What the fuck, man? Now he comes back to the original building. When he got back to the roof, no one was there. Kano immediately tried to call Tateno on his cell, but the call didn't go through. Tateno must have powered off his phone. Damn it! Where did you go, detective? He needed to hear what Tateno had to say. He still had no idea what was really going on, or what the grim truth might be, and it seems he had just lost his chance to find out. In desperation, Kano rushed from the building. But in his frantic search for the area, he saw no sign of either Tateno or Maria. Sorry. Later, a precinct-wide manhunt failed to discover where the two had gone. From that day forward, Kano was empty inside, carrying out his duty as a detective with bleak detachment. That's a bad ending, right? Of course it is. I mean, he handled that situation poorly. Yeah, bad end number 53. I got like 35 of those. Alright, so when Kano caught sight of the man about to commit suicide, Minorikawa couldn't ignore the situation and impulsively rushed to the rescue, but lost track of Tateno and Maria as a result. If Minorikawa hasn't turned on his rooftop, Kano would have been able... Alright, so when we're gonna move... Alright, so what we're gonna do is like when we're gonna play a Minorikawa, we're just not gonna go to the roof at all. So that Kano would have a straight conversation, uninterrupted, with Tateno. Alright, so we have to play Maria, of course, we have to play Minorikawa, of course, but for right now, I want to see what the deal is with Achi, because Achi was his Itomi. I don't know how Stanley managed to get Itomi out of him. I need to remember like what happened with this guy. Achi could hear ambulance and police sirens wailing on the main road. He looked down at Itomi slumped on a park bench beside him. "You're sure you're not hurt?" he asked quietly, offering her a bottle of water.
I'm okay.
Itomi took a sip from the bottle.
Thanks. I think I managed to calm down some.
Some of the color had finally returned to her face. So, Achi began hesitantly. Inside that minivan.
Yeah, Maria wasn't in there.
There was a relief in her voice, but also a note of pathos.
I got a look in through the windshield. There was a man laid out in the back seat, but nobody else.
The dark cloud lifted from Achi's face. So, it wasn't your sister?
No, I didn't see his face. Just that he was wearing a business suit.
Achi felt the tension ebbing from his body. That's good, then. That it wasn't her. I'd be worried. It was a shame about the poor devil who had been killed, though. Who was it, and why has he been there? She didn't recognize that was Tanaka! And she didn't recognize, she never saw his face. Because she would have freaked out, because she knows Tanaka. So I guess now we're all of leads. Yeah, Itomi murmured. She hung her head. We could try the surveillance center again for now, Achi said. It'll probably give us better odds of fighting your sister than just walking around.
I guess you're right. Shall we then?
Hold on. Achi had a sudden flash of inspiration. My house is a lot closer from here. Maybe I should ask my dad if he can check the cameras from home.
You can do that?
We have the same system at our house. I'm sure my dad will let us use them. The two got out and headed for Endo Electronics. Achi decided to let his father know they were coming. He turned on his phone as they walked along. He had it off for a while, so first he checked his voicemail. There was one message. Wondering who might have called, he played it back.
Is this Achi Endo's personal cell phone? This is Dr. Saeki for Shibuya Central Hospital.
Seichi Saeki, heart specialist and Suzune's attending physician, a preeminent surgeon who has successfully performed the Batista procedure, wherein the left ventricle is reconstructed after a third of it has been removed. Oh, he had an abnormality in the heart enough to reconstruct the left ventricle. Oh. Achi's expression stiffened. He pressed the phone closer to his ears.
There's been a sudden change in Suzune's condition. I tried calling your home as well, but got no answer.
Achi felt the edges of his vision growing dim.
As a brother, it would be good if you can come to the hospital as soon as possible. It's... Achi?
Achi?
He told me his voice was full of concern. Sorry, I just gotta make a call here. Fingers trembling, Achi dialed his house. The phone rang several times before switching over to the answering machine. Damn it! Where the hell are you, Dad?
What's wrong?
Hitomi asked. Oh, it's Suzune. It sounds like things have gotten pretty bad. Yeah, that's her sister, yeah? Oh no.
Well, then we need to get to the hospital right away,
Hitomi said. She sounded as anxious as Achi was. We can't go yet. Achi shook his head quietly. First, we have to save your sister. Hitomi bristled angrily at that.
What are you talking about?
She grabbed Achi by the arms and shook him.
Right now, you need to be thinking about your sister.
I can't. I made a promise to Suzune. A promise to help people and see things through to the end when something important is on the line. He struggled to get the words out. If I break that promise, then I really am no good to her. But he told me it didn't look like she was going to back down. Oi, get back here! A trending shout ran from nearby. Those are string punks? Achi looked around, startled, and saw a boy about high school age, bolting out from behind the building on a side street. Several slightly older young men were on his heels. They walk so fast, we have no idea who they are, what their faces are. Achi knew their faces all too well. They were all members of SOS. Oh, okay. They caught their quarry just before he could make it out onto the main road. Gotcha, newbie! So the kid they were after must have been a member too. Let me go! Oh, we'll let you go, alright. After you pay up! One of the young men snatched the boy by the collar and shoved it against the wall of the nearby building. Ow! The boy's face is crunched up. What are you talking about? Playing dumb, huh? Interjected one of the onlookers. We told you the members all have to pay monthly dues, yeah? The privilege of getting to call yourself SOS don't come free after all. Achi felt his blood boil. SOS was trying to pull a shakedown on his new kid under the guise of calling it dues. Slang for extortion, a full-fledged crime. Naturally, the direct shakedown, give me all your money, punk, is quite unpleasant, but more roundabout ways of being shaken down can still leave a bad taste in one's mouth. Someone who was surrounded on the street by 8 people in pompadours who say, begging your pardon, but could you please hand over your money, might suffer no physical harm, but would still be the victim of a shakedown. Yeah, good old 80s Japanese gangs. It would have been unthinkable for them to do something like this back when Achi was running the show. Hey! He barked. Let the kid go! He marched towards the group. Say what now? They turned to look, their faces immediately going pale. Hey, Achi! Let him go! Achi focused his glare on the fellow holding the kid until he released his grip. You guys always go around doing stuff like this? None of the gang members answered. They merely turned their gaze glumly to the ground. Hey! Achi turned to the younger boy. Since when have they been doing this? Well, of course, he realized there was no way the newbie would be able to tell him. Never mind, you can go. Achi gestured toward the main road. The boy was quick to run off. Yeah, those are mean-looking boys. Achi waited until the boy was gone before turning back to the others. Are we picking up a fight? They look like they want some. Does Suzumu know you're going around collecting dues like this? He asked. Of course, that was his idea. No, man, we don't gotta tell you that, one of them muttered. Not since you deserted. What'd you just say? Achi leaned in close, getting right in the guy's face. He was met with a defiant sneer. This ain't the old SOS anymore. Not the old SOS. Achi thought back to the other gang members he'd run into earlier with a malicious gleam in his eyes. Kiryu. That guy. Pretty sure he said his name was Kiryu. Back when Hachi had been with SOS, he never had let a guy like that get away with acting all high and mighty. Suddenly Hachi heard a voice from behind him. Well, well. If it ain't our legendary founder. An instant later, he took a hard blow to the side of the head. I was just out looking for some fry, small fry. But it looks like I landed me a big one. Hachi's head swam, his vision fading in and out. Before he had a chance to recover, something smashed into his knee. Ow! Ow! What did I do? He lay crumpled on the ground, unable to retaliate as kicks and punches rained down on him. Even after Hachi could no longer move, the beating didn't stop. I had no options! I have no choices of answer. This leads straight to a bad ending? I mean, we have to interrupt those thugs somewhere else? His ruptured eardrum could barely make out the sound of Hitomi screaming. Man, Hitomi, run! With his final plea silenced before it reaches his lips, Hachi felt his consciousness battered away. Damn, out of luck. Kiryu's ambush. Yeah. I'll read that Banden Lander or I'm gonna be stumped, but yeah. So that was Hachi. Alright, Minorikawa. Alright, memo to Minorikawa. Do not go to a building. Alright, where are you, guy? There you are. Oh! Minorikawa needed to get back to the editing office right away. But despite the urgency, he barely stumbled along. He was swaying on his feet, only half aware of where he was even going. No, this is all some sick joke. He just couldn't accept that Toyama was dead. He let out his lifeless sigh, a cynical smile crept onto his face. The man always did insist on having his own way, but killing himself... Back when he was still a novice reporter, Minorikawa had written a piece about a middle school girl who committed suicide. The school had made a statement denying that bullying had been a factor, and so most of the media had reported that she had suffered a nervous breakdown over entrance exam. Nervous breakdown, a period of mental illness manifesting as panic disorder, stress-induced anxiety, or the like. The term is commonly used to refer to serious health issues such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Manic depression. Oh, that's an old word, manic depressions. This should appear nowhere anymore. Bipolar disorder is it's perfect. As well as the buildup of more minor stresses as part of everyday life. Because it's so broadly and vaguely defined, it is generally avoided in psychiatric contexts. Yeah. But something about the case that kept nagging at him. Had her death really been a suicide? The more people he interviewed about the incident, the more his doubts grew. The city news editor, however, would not allow him to conduct a follow-up investigation, and the reason why was simple. This was the sort of things that happened every day. They couldn't waste time on a case that was already on the books. It was more important for a reporter to find news stories than to squander time engrossed in the case that was old news. Minorikawa understood the editor's decision well enough, but that didn't mean he had to like it. He'd been sulking up on the roof, slowly nursing a cigarette, when the paper's local news copy editor, Toyama, happened to drop by. Yeah, this is a flashback scene. So you have Minorikawa younger with other clothes, and Toyama is there with him. At the newspaper, an employee who evaluates the quality and suitability of a reporter's copy and coverage. The copy editor, yeah. Effectively the boss of a group of reporters. However, the copy editor typically works under a section editor who has the final say about what makes the page. A middle management position caught between upstart reporter and an angry section chief. Did they say no to the follow-up interviews? Toyama asked. About that girl's suicide? The name of the girl who killed herself was Shiaru Fuyutsuki. After reading her diary, Minorikawa became convinced it was an ordinary suicide. 6 years from now, Minorikawa will run into a certain teacher, and the investigation into the student's death will be reopened, but that's another story for another time. Oh, okay. Yeah. Minorikawa expelled the plume of his smoke along with his sigh. Nothing tasted quite as bad as a cigarette when he was down in the dumps.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything, Minorikawa said. Editor told me no.
Oh, editor said not to? You sound like a child.
The rebuff made Minorikawa temper flare. There are other interviews to do. I want to follow up on this, but there isn't any time.
You dumbass!
Toyama punched him in the face. Toyama hauled off and hit him right across the face.
What happened to I write what I feel in my heart? That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. What happened to the guy who used to bitch at me like that?
Toyama's words hit their mark with painful precision.
The interviews aren't over until you have what you need. No, you refuse to let them be over. You go after the truth no matter what anyone tells you. Isn't that what being a journalist is all about?
Well, I don't see if it is for real life, but that's a nice ideal. Minorikawa scowled in chagrin. The man was exactly right. Until you have what you need. Those words have struck with Minorikawa ever since. In fact, he would quit the paper to become a freelancer because he couldn't do his job the way he wanted while trapped in that hierarchy. Oh, that's interesting. Now he wondered, what if Toyama hadn't killed himself, but had instead been the victim of a terrorist attack? But after considering the idea for a moment, he thought bitterly, so what? The reasons and the details that hardly mattered at this point. What mattered was that Toyama was dead. Minorikawa sat down listlessly and stared up at the sky. The blank swath of blue made him feel all the more worn out. Just what had all of the days running around been for? Yeah, cause Toyama was the only thing that keep the 4-star general gossip from being published, because everybody else quit. He felt so empty, so hollowed out by loss. All his motivation had drained away. He had no idea what he should do next. I know what he should do next. Not go to a rooftop. Hey, Minorikawa, what should you do? He tried to listen to his inner voice. You've forgotten your passion. You need to get it back. Stand up right now. You need to forge your head. One of them leads to a rooftop, but I don't know which one. Oh, all right. Let's go. You've forgotten your passion. You need to get that back. Yeah, that was the only option, really. He needed to turn back the clock to reclaim the fire that used to burn inside him. Uh-oh. And you knew just how to do that. Uh-oh. Before he could, however, a young man stumbled across his path, taking a nasty fall on the pavement. Ow! Oh, damn, that hurts! The youngster scrambled back to his feet and turned to Minorikawa with a snarl.
Oh! What are you looking at, pal?
This is Kiryu! The young man clutched a piece of timber like a club. There was a nasty gleam in his eyes. I'm not looking at anything, Minorikawa sighed. I just happened to be looking at your direction.
Shut your yap! Apologize, bitch! Now!
The punk raised his cudgel. What for?
You tricked me, man! Ain't you gonna apologize for that?
The kid all stumbled all of his own, but was probably too embarrassed to admit it. Guess he's got to vent his anger at someone. Listen, kid, Minorikawa said. It's not my fault you're such a klutz.
Well, you just said to me, you got a death wish, pal!
Calm down, Mondo. With a murderous glare, the punk advanced on him, brandishing his weapon. Hey, Minorikawa said. Hey, Is it fun hitting people with that thing? Alright, I'm sorry, or bring it on. Alright, final word. Is it fun hitting people with that thing? The corner of the punk's mouth curled up. Oh yeah, real fun. Only a dumbass beats people with their bare hands. You just wind up hurting your fists. If you're gonna enjoy some violence, you gotta have yourself a weapon. Aha, I see. In that case, maybe give it a rest with that stick, yeah? Huh? What for? The punk scowled in irritation. Don't get me wrong, Mirikawa said. I'm just saying, there have to be better weapons than that. Something that could take a man down with a single blow? The kid stopped to consider Mirikawa's word for a moment. Why is he giving him advice on how to beat a guy? Oh, I get ya. Yeah, you might be right about that. And I think I have just the thing. May as well go with my usual. He tossed away the piece of wood on the side of the road. Don't you go anywhere till I get back. Got it? Yeah, sure thing. Mirikawa watched as the punk headed back to the weed cob. Man, he murmured, what a dumbass. Looking around, he spotted a taxi parked close by. Yay, taxi! Is that the same driver? Bet it's the same. Oh, is it? Yes, it is! It was Kimizuka! He's always there when he needs a taxi. He has a flair. Do you need a ride, sir? Kimizuka asked, all politeness as he opened the back door. Yeah! If you're heading to that publishing office again, I can get you there in 10 minutes. Kimizuka's driving was as smooth as always. He moves his way skillfully through a series of back streets. There was some big explosion earlier, he explained. The main roads are gridlock. Yeah, Mirikawa murmured. I was there when it happened. Look at my face. Oh, wow, really? I'm glad to see you're not hurt then. Still, what a terrible thing. That minivan. I hear someone was inside when it exploded. I'm not sure if you were aware. Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Oh ho, nothing gets past a reporter like you, I see. Kimizuka flashed Mirikawa an approving smile through the rear-view mirror. How much have you heard then? Rumor is it that the person who died was a middle-aged man. Oh, taxi drivers tend to hear quite a bit ourselves. But that information wasn't even disclosed. Like, how would he knew that? Kimizuka chuckled, but Mirikawa just cast his eyes down forlornly. Does his taxi radio pick up wireless signal from the police? Because that's the only way he would have found out. Or maybe another taxi driver has that and then share that info with all the other drivers. You look tired, sir. Yeah, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. Suddenly, someone rushed into the street right in front of the cab. It was Hachi! Look out! I'm gonna check something because we got one bad ending with him, and I believe we avoided it because we got Kiryu to get rid of his 2x4, so probably he never attacked Hachi. I'm just gonna check the timeline. Yeah, we got rid of the bad end on Hachi's side. Just doing that, we avoid... Oh, now we have another jump. Not another jump, a branch. Look out! Oh, they hit Hachi! There was a heavy thunk as the taxi crashed into the pedestrian. Oh. Oh my god! They killed Hachi! You bastard! Screeching to a halt, Kimizuka and Minorikawa jumped out of the vehicle to find a young man splayed out on the street. Hey, the driver called. You alright? Yeah, the King Kong company. Yeah, I remember now. The taxis company is called King Kong. I don't know why. The falling pedestrian was practically still a kid, and he wasn't moving. Kimizuka hunkered down and jostled his shoulder. Then his expression stiffened in alarm. Minorikawa checked the young man's pulse, but couldn't detect any heartbeat. Oh my god, they really killed Achi! You bastard! Oh no! Oh no, Kimizuka said. This is... Tears began to well up in his eyes. Minorikawa turned to him in surprise. You knew him? I did. Kimizuka cradled the young man in his arm. I'm sorry, but you have to find yourself another taxi, he said. I'm going to turn myself in to the police. Looking down at the boy's unmoving form, Minorikawa felt a pang of guilt. No, he said, I'm the only one who's asking you to drive around so recklessly all day. This is on me too. But I'll go with you to the cops. The two men decide to head to the station together to surrender themselves. Is it another bad ending? Oh my god. There probably wouldn't be time to work on the writing articles while they were being interrogated, but that was just how it'd have to be. This was the right thing to do. Minorikawa just had to keep telling himself that, knowing that it was the truth. Oh boy. Alright. Lay it on me. Bad end number 59, surrounded to the police. Oh wait, I wanted to read that. I can read it on the time chart, but yeah. So alright, there's two. Yeah, there's two jump and then there's surrender to the police. Minorikawa's date ended in disaster when the taxi was riding and hit a young man who ran out into the street. But why did the kid rush into the intersection like that? The answer lies in Achi's story. Well, since we unlocked Achi's bad end, so let's go back to him. So what happened to him? Get back here, yeah. We probably will never encounter Kiryu when we get into those thugs. Cause I got a new weapon back home. There's a lot of text, but I cannot skip. I can auto thing, but that's just as long as takes just as much time as me mashing X. Mashing X, mashing X. Yeah, at first I was like Suzune was like Achi's sister, and Suzumu is the one who was actually in charge of SOS. But the name sounds awfully similar. And Kiryu is like the number 2, but he's like he used to be not a former Yakuza, but like he's like a professional troublemaker from another gang in another city. So yeah, he has a bad influence on everyone else. Then someone shouted from behind him, "Hey, what are you doing?" Achi put the guy down and turned around to see Suzumu standing there. Oh, so that's Suzumu, yeah. Mind telling me just what's going on here, Achi? Suzumu flashed in his underling a sharp glare. They immediately took up to their heels. Yeah, everybody. Achi wasn't about to just let them go. He raced after them. Just what the hell was going on with SOS? Achi needed to talk with... Yeah, I have the feeling that me racing after these guys got me into this car accident. So I'm gonna chill and talk to Suzumu. Just what the hell was going on with SOS? Achi needed to talk with Suzumu. I asked what was going on here. There was a threatening... Oh, there was a threatening voice in Suzumu's voice. That's what I want to know. What the hell's happening to SOS, man? Suzumu's face twisted with displeasure.
You're an outsider now. That's none of your business.
I don't give a damn if it's my business or not. When I left you in charge of SOS,
You shut your goddamn mouth!
Suzumu roared.
Yeah, that's right. You left me in charge. So don't you dare give me any lip about how I run things.
His sudden ferocity left Archie at a loss for words.
You're not the one busting your ass out here. I am.
Suzumu stalked towards Archie, his face red with emotion.
I have to work so hard to keep things going with you gone. Do you have any idea what it's been like? Do you know what I have to put myself through to keep SOS together? Huh?
There was nothing Archie could say to that. He just kept his mouth shut and let Suzumu talk.
You were gone. I thought maybe I could do things like you did.
All at once, Suzumu seemed to deflate a little. He hung his head, hiding his face.
And if I couldn't be like you, then...
Hey, man. I get it. And I'm sorry. But Suzumu kept his face averted.
Please,
he muttered.
Stay out of her business.
And he turned on his heel and headed off without looking back. Hachi watched him leave, feeling a painful sting.
Hachi?
Hitomi asked after Suzumu was gone.
Are you sure you're okay living things like this?
Hachi shrugged heavily.
Suzumu said he's doing what he can.
Oh, it's not my place to butt in. He turned his back to Hitomi. He still needed a moment.
Hachi, you're being real reasonable.
About what? He felt like he's been wooden to his very core and he wasn't sure what to do about it.
You want to help people who are in trouble, right?
Hitomi asked quietly. Yeah, I guess. Hachi's voice was glum.
Well, I'm in a whole lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, I know that.
No, Hachi, you don't.
Hitomi's tone was clipped and firm.
Please, go to your sister.
What are you talking about? That doesn't matter now.
Yes, it does.
Hitomi's shout stopped him in his track.
Hachi, right now the thing I'm having the most trouble with is that you won't go to the hospital. Don't you get it? How can I possibly be happy with you helping me if you have to sacrifice your own sister to do it?
Hachi couldn't answer that, and he knew it. Please.
Please, go to the hospital. I'm asking you to. And I'm definitely someone in trouble, so it doesn't count as breaking your promise, right?
I appreciate that, Hachi said softly. Hey, I'll remember it when this is all done, so yeah, how about we drop by the hospital for a bit? Oh yeah, let's go to the hospital then. Alright. The emotion Hachi has been trying to hide now came welling to the surface. We'll go see Suzune, and after that, we can go look for your sister. Would that be okay with you?
That would be more than okay with me.
And at long last, Hitomi smiled at him. Nice! Back in sync with each other, Hachi and Hitomi headed to the hospital. Alright, let's go see little sister. Little sister's so precious. She's a gem. She's like Joey's little sister in Yu-Gi-Oh! But even cuter. Can you imagine? Shibuya Central Hospital was one of the foremost general hospitals in Japan, outfitted with top-notch medical facilities and staffed with highly skilled personnel. Individuals like Suzune with rare blood type were sent to the hospital from far and wide because of its cutting-edge hematology center. The hospital division that deals with blood. Its goal is to provide high-end care for patients with blood disorders, including blood screening, treatments, transfusion, the management and supply of blood products, and other related services. Hachi asked Hitomi to stay in the waiting area while he headed on in the hospital proper. From the visitor's entrance, he passed by the nurse's station, then entered the cardiovascular medicine section and walked along a row of examination rooms. The cardiovascular system includes the heart as well as the various blood vessels that circulate blood throughout the body. Cardiovascular medicine deals with heart and blood issues such as angina, heart attack, heart failure, irregular pulse, and the like. He walked by the first room as quietly as possible, catching sight of a mother and the daughter sitting together in chairs in the hallway. The mother was crying softly.
Oh, Takuya, he's only 15,
she murmured under her breath. The name Takuya didn't ring a bell. It was the only 15 that got a reaction of Achi. Only 15. He couldn't imagine anything good coming after that. To be cruelly taken away when one was still so young, Achi could still feel the woman's pain as deeply as if it were his own. When he reached Suzune's room, Dr. Saeki, the attending physician, explained her condition. The doctor did his best to keep his explanation simple, but Achi was too worked up to process much of what he said. He did manage to wrap his head around a few things. Yeah, operation room. Around 10 o'clock that morning, Suzune had a seizure. Oh, for a while it had been touch and go, but finally her condition had stabilized. However, since she hadn't regained consciousness yet, she wasn't allowed any visitors. That was the gist, as far as Achi could tell. This is the doctor.
What's your father doing today? He still hasn't come by,
Dr. Saeki said. Achi wasn't sure what to tell him. It was certainly odd. There was no way his father wouldn't have rushed right to the hospital if he heard Suzune has taken a turn for the worse. Especially since we have an interview with him around 11 or 12 with Mirikawa. So he was at home when this all happened. I don't know where he is actually right now at the moment, at the very same time, because we're running around town. But, you know.
I'll give you a call once she's woken up. For now, you can head on home for the day.
Alright. Please, keep a close eye on her, doctor. Somberly, Achi went to find Hitomi in the waiting area. Outpatient reception had closed for the day, leaving the hospital quiet. His footsteps echoed softly in the corridors. Then, as he walked along, a peculiar sound drew his attention. It had come from over by the base of a nearby stairwell. Achi took a peek around the corner. That's Kanan! And Leland? The sight that greeted him nearly made him gasp aloud. In the dim light up ahead, he saw Kanan, and she had some white guy pressed against the wall, a knife to his throat. Am I right? Achi quickly yanked his head back out of view. Could it be... Was this the man Kanan said she was after? Achi had to resist the urge to go charging out there. Some amateur heading in half-cocked might well be more of a liability to Kanan than any sort of help. He heard her mutter something to the man in English. We know nothing about Alfred's background, nationality, sex, age. Achi could just barely make the words. Since it was all in English, he had no idea what they meant. Yeah. I wonder if I should say these English sentences with bad English to tell them apart from the Japanese. But we do know that whoever they are, they have connection to Langley. Langley, slang for the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency CIA, headquartered in Langley, Virginia. Similar to referring to the Japanese government as Nagatacho, the CIA has other nicknames including the company, the agency, the second government, the invisible government, and the coup makers. Of course, Langley, Virginia.
Good morning, USA!
Achi peered out again, very cautious in time to see the man's raise an eyebrow at Kanan's words.
Interesting.
Wait, that's Jack. That's Jack Stanley. Interesting. That doesn't mean you need to threaten me at knife point, though. He flashed her a thin smile. It does, actually. Because I happen to know that you're a CIA agent. Officers, blah, blah, blah. I know what this is. Whoop! No sooner were Kanan's words out than the man grabbed her arm and tried to hurl her against the wall. Just before her head connected, though, she jackknifed her upper body forward, then planted both feet against the wall and kicked off with a tremendous force. She used her momentum to launch herself forward, regaining her position with a knife against the man's throat. But during this brief opening, the man had managed to draw a gun from inside his jacket. Now the barrel was pressed right against Kanan's heart. Hachi swallowed the lump in his throat. How about we call it a truce? Kanan said softly. She withdrew her knife. Yeah, sounds like you and me are both after the same thing. The man likewise lowered his gun. With a faint smile, Kanan turned her back on him and vanished down the adjacent stairwell. Hachi had no idea what had just happened. He stopped fighting though, so this guy probably wasn't Kanan's mastermind after all. Yeah, it was Jack Stanley, the CIA agent. They're looking for the same thing, but take care. If only Hachi spoke a little English, he might have been able to follow their conversation. He found himself wishing he'd taken school more seriously. When he looked again, he saw that the man who had disappeared. Hitomi stood up from her chair as Hachi hurried into the waiting area.
How's Suzune?
She asked. For now, she's not in any immediate danger, they said.
That's good to hear.
But more importantly, Kanan was just here just now.
What? Why?
I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. Hachi stumped his shoulders.
Huh? What? I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Exactly. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. Hell, he couldn't even figure out how to get through to Hitomi.
May I have a moment?
A voice spoke unexpectedly from behind Hachi. Oh, Stanley! His breath caught in his throat as he turned around. Standing there was the man Kanan has been struggling with. What's up? Hachi asked. Oh, this is how Stanley got Hitomi into custody. He tried to sound as nonchalant as possible, but the man wasn't looking at Hachi. You're Hitomi Osawa, is that right?
Yes.
Hey! Hachi snapped. Keep your distance! He stepped protectively in front of Hitomi. This guy. He's not what he looks like. This guy is not what he looks like! Hachi clenched his fist and adopted a defensive posture.
Huh?
Hitomi seems panicked. Hachi said, this might be the person Kanan was warning us about. I don't know who he is, but he's not our friend. I'm gonna be truthful. I don't know who he is, but he's not our friend. The man calmly reached into his jacket pocket. Fearing he might be about to throw his gun, Hachi braced for action. Yeah! Oh! Diplomatic identification card. Jack Stanley, member of Regional Security Office, rank Security Assistance Officer. From expiration data from May 25th, 2007 to December 31st, 2009. Ambassador signature John Hancock. Right. Oh! Authorities in the United States of America are requested to fly to every assistance and protection of which... It's too blurry, I cannot read. My name is Jack Stanley. I'm a security assistance officer with the U.S. Embassy. Oh no, he's CIA. Hachi held back his punch as the man held out his ID card. Diplomats are issued a diplomatic passport and diplomatic ID cards by their own governments. Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also issues its own form of diplomatic ID card. The CIA provides such identification to its operatives working overseas to obtain their false identities. Embassy?
What does someone from the U.S. Embassy want with me?
Tommy asked timidly. You're being targeted by a dangerous criminal. I'm here to take you into protective custody.
Custody?
Custody? Hachi's timbers flared. Buzz off, pal. We're busy here. Busy searching for Maria Osawa? Stanley asked. Hachi and Tommy exchanged a glance. I know the full details of the trouble you currently find yourselves in. We're alright. Well, alright then, Hachi said. Then you should know we don't have time to get taken into custody. I'm afraid you don't understand the situation we're dealing with. We're up against a dangerous international criminal here. Taking reckless action is only going to put her life in danger. Don't be a fool. This is no time to play the knight in shining armor. Hey! Hachi was infuriated, but he couldn't think of a comeback. After all, it was true that Hitomi had run into danger time and time again while she was with him.
But I'm already safe.
Hitomi insisted.
I'm only here right now because Hachi has been protecting me.
She eyed Stanley sharply.
I've got Hachi with me. I don't need your protection.
Hachi felt a surge of pride that practically brought tears to his eyes. If Hitomi would have let him, he would have given her an enormous hug. Stanley grimaced in resignation. Alright. In that case, how about I join your search for Maria? I can help keep you safe that way instead. I don't know. Hitomi grabbed hold of Hachi's sleeves. This Stanley fellow didn't have the most trustworthy face, Hachi thought. But he realized that he might be biased after being chased around by foreigners all day. After all, if this guy really were after Hitomi, he would probably have already made a show of force. Not only did he have a gun on him, but he was sufficiently skilled in martial arts to hold his own against Kanan. He would have no trouble taking down a single armed opponent like Hachi. Hitomi, I get the impression this Stanley guy is not our enemy right now. Hitomi gave a slight nod.
Alright. I trust your judgment on this, Hachi.
Now then, what's the plan from here? Stanley asked. Not wandering aimlessly around town, I hope. There was a trace of snideness in his voice. You can just keep your mouth shut, Hachi replied. We can wander around town all day if we feel like it. Two can play the snarky game, he thought to himself. Poor Hitomi looked distressed. Very well, if that's what you want, I can stay quiet. But first, I need to inform the police that I have Miss Osawa's in my custody.
Wait, hold on.
Hitomi blurted.
That isn't a good idea.
Stanley inclined his head. Why is that?
Well, since you already seems to know most of the story.
Hitomi quickly explained the kidnapper's threat and described the search for the minivan. Stanley remained quiet, listening with obvious interest. I see, he said, when she's finished. Still, when that minivan exploded, didn't make your promise to the kidnappers a moot point? Hitomi nodded.
I suppose it did, didn't it?
Let me ask just one more question. Do either of you know a detective by the name of Tateno?
No.
No, we haven't run into any detectives. The only folks we've seen to run into are guys who after Hitomi. I see. A grim expression crossed Stanley's face. Right, I'm going to get in touch with the investigation task force. I'll have them contact your parents for you. Would you mind speaking with them so they can confirm it's really you?
Sure, alright.
Stanley got on his wireless and described their current circumstances to the police. Osawa's going to be so glad he found one of the daughters. Mr. Endo, hold on! Suddenly, Dr. Saiki appeared running down the hallway.
There's something I forgot to tell you regarding your father.
Oh? Archie got a sinking feeling.
I got a call from him yesterday afternoon, and he asked me something rather odd. Preparation for a transplant? I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're asking.
Saiki clutched the receiver. Daisuke Endo's brooding tone was more than a little disturbing.
No, it's all right,
Endo said.
This is all just difficult to talk about, Doctor. Please, forget I said anything. There's just one important thing I wanted to let you know.
Yes?
There's going to be a brain-dead woman coming your way at probably around 9 o'clock this evening, I expect. Her blood type is Bombay.
Bombay was the extremely rare blood type that Endo's daughter Suzune possessed. Any transplant donor for Suzune would also need to have the Bombay blood type. How does Endo know? How does Endo know about that? Like there's gonna be a brain dead woman coming your way at 9 p.m.
Since she had the same blood type as Suzune, the transplant itself isn't an issue, Endo continued. The only thing I'm concerned about is whether the procedure can be done within the limited time window. And I hate to trouble you, but I just called because I think it will be best to prepare for the surgery as soon as possible.
The more Saiki heard, the more disturbed he grew. He felt like he was listening to this man go on about some stranger delusion.
Doctor, please, just take good care of Suzune.
With that, Endo hung up. Archie kept quiet as he listened to Dr. Saiki tell his story.
Of course, that was yesterday, and I still haven't heard anything about a brain-dead girl turning up. After all, only God would know when someone would wind up in a state of brain dead. But still, there was just something very strange about what your father said. It was as if he was certain that someone was going to wind up brain dead, or...
Just stop right there, Archie exclaimed. Stanley and Tommy turned in surprise. They were still in the middle of their wireless call to the police.
Don't get me wrong, the doctor said hastily. I'm not trying to imply that your father would hurt anyone. What I'm worrying about is that your father's mental state in...
No! Archie interrupted him again. That's not it! His own word from earlier spawned with his head. So long as we have this camera, this guy has nowhere to run. So now we see a picture of Minakawa running after Yanagishita back then. The security cameras. I'm sure this is the place. Oh, now we see the assassin, which is Tateno. Tateno, the man with the cane. He'd been on the phone with someone. Oh, wait. The Tateno has been in contact with Endo and he knew where to look. And what? Are they saying that Hitomi's blood is Bombay too? But she has the war virus. Oh my god. No, no. That didn't mean anything. It was just a coincidence. It couldn't be true. Archie searched desperately for some other explanation. That was it! Anyone from the downtown committee could have used a camera monitoring room.
Yeah, no one's been by to check today. Nothing wrong with a little snap, yeah?
No dice. No one from downtown has been by the surveillance room today. It couldn't be. It couldn't. Archie began to tremble.
Is something the matter?
Hitomi asked.
Archie, you're pale as a ghost.
Archie gazed beseechingly back into her face. With just a simple question, he could clear his whole thing up. Please, tell me I'm overthinking this. He prayed inwardly before asking. Hitomi, would you mind telling me your blood type?
Huh? Why do you ask?
Please, just tell me.
I have a sort of weird blood type.
Hitomi said, "Oh no, no!"
It's called Bombay.
The last piece of the puzzle fell into place. There was no longer any room for doubt. Hachi found himself facing a sad and painful truth. Why? Why? With an anguished scream, Hachi punched the wall as hard as he could. But his fist still didn't hurt as much as his heart. Dad! Why? To be continued? So there is another! So there is a 5 to 6 p.m. mark. Okay. Because now the plot really thickens. It's like, oh my god, we already finished Hachi's story. So we're done with Hachi. Minorikawa, are we still with the bad ending with him? I need to double check. Yeah, the bad ending has been removed. Now I'm back to the choice. I'm gonna keep the same choice because I believe one of them brings me to a bad ending and the other brings me to Hachi's bad ending, and I want to keep the timeline as it is. So there you go. Toss away the piece of wood. The taxi. You look tired, sir. Yeah, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. The taxi stopped outside of Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa left a 1,000 yen bill on the seat and exited the cab. He was stumbling his way toward the building when someone called out to him. Mr. Minorikawa! Oh! Osawa is here! For a moment, Minorikawa didn't recognize the man now idling his sedan at the curb, but when he took a closer look, he realized it was Kenji Osawa. So I have a jump opportunity with him. I'm not gonna take it, but oh, Mr. Osawa! Sorry, but I haven't been able to look into that thing you're asking about yet. I see. That's quite alright. Osawa looked pale and haggard. Minorikawa's reporter's sense started tingling. This guy is the key to something. He recalled what he'd heard the detective and his buddy talking about back at the scene of the explosion. Roughly 8 hours ago, they infected Maria Osawa with the war virus. If we don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops symptoms... You're caught up in something big, aren't you? Oh, how do you know about that? Because, the reporter said simply, I'm Minoru Minorikawa! Osawa rolled his eyes. Well, that makes this simpler, I guess. Get in. I'll tell you everything. Minorikawa hesitated. This might be his big chance to land a beyond incredible scoop. Yet it felt it was too late to matter. Still, landing a major story selling out an issue of 4-star general gossip and putting Heaven Publishing on the road to solvency, all that was the least he could do in Toyama's memory. You don't drop a story until you have what you need. Maybe it was too late to save Toyama. But Minarikawa got into the car. Osawa still was beyond anything Minarikawa had imagined.
So they send you threatening emails, devise a plan to kidnap your daughter in order to get the antiviral, and now that that's failed, they're turning to bioterrorism.
Finally, Minarikawa was able to flesh out the story behind the conversation he overheard earlier. And as he did, he could feel a growing sense of exhilaration.
So basically, they're now effectively holding all the people in Shibuya hostage and demanding the antiviral, is that it?
Before Osawa could answer, a new idea occurred to Minarikawa.
Wait, hold on. Why didn't you just start by holding the whole city hostage? Why did they need to go through all the trouble of kidnapping your daughter?
I don't know, Osawa said, shaking his head.
Perhaps they wanted the ransom money? For a mere 50 million yen? I can't imagine international terrorists borrowing for that much.
You can't know how terrorists think, Osawa spat.
Let's just assume, though. Could there be some other reason they abducted your daughter?
Osawa didn't reply. He was probably too preoccupied with finding a way to save his affected daughter to think about anything else. Still, something about the courses of events didn't quite add up to Minarikawa. Ayomadori, Meijidori, Tama... something. But whatever the case, if the criminal were after this antiviral, then sticking with Osawa ought to bring him closer to the truth. Minarikawa was still mulling that over when they arrived at the laboratory.
Oh!
The two men hopped out of the car and were immediately rushed by a pair of security guards who subdued them in a matter of moments.
Hey! Minarikawa protested. What the hell is this? Unhand me!
Osawa yelled.
I'm Keiji Osawa! This is my lab!
But evidently that didn't matter to the guards. Oh, is that... Another man emerged from the building. He and Osawa exchanged a few brief words. Judging from the tone of the conversation, this was someone who outranked Osawa and the company. Yeah, this is Majiro, his boss.
Take him away.
And the newcomer looked on the guards, dragged Osawa into the building. What?
Hey! Minarikawa shot at the man as he began to walk away. Don't you know what's going to happen to Shibuya? Don't you care? If you just stand by and let the people of this city die, Okochi Pharmaceutical is going to be held responsible.
The man stopped in his track.
And if that happens, you'll be ruined personally too,
Minarikawa added.
You know I'm right.
That will be up for the police to decide.
You're going to regret this, don't be a fool.
Minarikawa's resolve was unwavering. His plan would met out justice. He might have come close to forgetting what his one stood for, but now the old fire was back.
I see. It seems this isn't something to leave unchecked.
The man gestured with his jaw.
Take him as well.
More security guards surrounded Minarikawa.
Hey! Stop it! Let me go!
But though he struggled fiercely, there was no escape. Once he was dragged through those laboratory doors, Minarikawa never wrote another article again. Oh! I mean, those instances where two main characters meet are cool and all, but they always end up with bad ending. Detained at the lab. Bad end number 60. Minarikawa accompanied Osawa to the lab, but there was no getting past the security guards, and if even Osawa can get into his own lab, there's no real reason to go there. It's Osawa who needs to decide on a different course of action here. Yeah. So it's like everybody's a radical. Nobody must ever meet ever, or as few as possible. Like the encounter between Minarikawa and Osawa must be as minimal as possible. Like that one meeting by the gate was just sufficient. Because any more, and they're gonna obstruct again each other in the story. So I get the feeling that it's impossible for Osawa's story to continue at Minorikawa's. So let's start with Osawa again. Let's begin Osawa's story. I don't want to know about how people feel. All I want to know is what viruses feel. I prefer viruses because they make no move to encroach on me from the other side of my microscope. Leave me free to let my thought wander as I wish. And while it may be true, so say I understand viruses, I have never been able to understand my fellow humans. I don't know them. I don't know a single fundamental thing about them. With Tanaka dead, trying to use the backup password from the fingerprint scanner had become a hopeless endeavor. The only remaining means of gaining entry to the storage area was to issue an emergency unlock request to the electronic lock manufacturer, and in order to do that, they need approval from the 6 members of the board of directors. Returning to his study, Osawa called Makino's personal cell phone.
What is it?
Makino said gruffly as soon as he picked up. Osawa informed him of the situation, including Tanaka's death, and the fact that Maria's was infected. The news left Makino at a loss for words. Please, Osawa begged, you need to hold an emergency board meeting. Makino was silent for a few moments.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Why not? Are you just going to sit by and let my daughter die? Osawa raged. And not just her. If Maria goes symptomatic. If Maria goes symptomatic. That was still only an if, but Osawa was reluctant to put his fear into words. If she goes symptomatic, the war virus will sweep through all of Tokyo.
I realize that,
Makino replied.
but one of the board members is overseas on business. Holding a meeting is impossible.
Despite the gravity of the situation, he sounded astoundingly nonchalant. Osawa couldn't back down now. There must be other option, like a web conference or something. Have you ever heard of telework, sir? Like, this is like 2008, so there was such a thing as telework. So, I have a snack nearby. It's like smaller bags of chips, like the one you get for Halloween. Like, I got my Halloween early in advance, and all I got are Doritos and Cheetos and stuff that's gonna stains my fingers. I'm gonna try to get a flavor that's not gonna be too much. Yeah, Ruffles all dress. That will work. Sorry about the chip noise.
That doesn't help us if we can't get in touch with him.
Makino huffed.
He went missing a few days ago in the middle of his business trip.
Osawa was almost too appalled to be angry. That's the most ridiculous lie I've ever heard.
Would you like to speak to my on-site contact if you don't believe me?
This was like arguing with a child. If Makino was deliberately working against him, he'd never know if this disappearance was real or not. In that case, can you please appoint a representative in his stead? Osawa pleaded.
Selecting a representative is a complicated process. Even if we started right now, it would take until sometime tomorrow afternoon to complete.
Tomorrow afternoon. By then would be too late for any of this to matter. Sir, can't you see how absurd the things you're saying are?
What would you have me do?
Makino barked.
These are the realities of corporate politics.
I understand, sir.
You will do nothing for my daughter. That's what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying,
Makino replied.
Look, I'll see what I can do to appoint a representative more quickly.
He hung up. His tone, as suggested, was that waiting for the appointee wouldn't be a terrible, hopeful prospect.
I have no more allies, Sawata. All I have left now are foes.
He couldn't count on anyone anymore. Osawa was just going to have to get the entire all by himself. Still, he would just have to take Makino at his word right now. Okay. He cannot get the entire viral by himself. He's going to get arrested on the spot. So, I gotta choose B. Still, he just have to take Makino at his word. Right now, that was the only course of action. Osawa sat down in front of his computer and quietly closed his eyes. If only I could just go to sleep and wake up tomorrow morning and file all of this resolved. All I'm asking for is a miracle. But he knew reality would never be so kind. He could hold his eyes just shut as long as he wanted, and it would make this hopeless situation go away. He felt the anxiety welling up inside him until it seems like he was going to explode. Needing a distraction from his helplessness, Osawa opened up IONET. He knew this was mere escapism, but he couldn't just sit and do nothing while waiting for Makino to call back. He posted a new topic with the title Aya Fortune Teller. I tried the Aya Fortune Teller. My result basically said I was a bad person who can't connect to the people around me. And you know what? That's exactly right. I'm only interested in my own little world. That's probably why my wife and my assistant at work got so fed up with me. It's the same with my two daughters. What sort of things are they interested in? Do they have a lot of friends? What are their aspirations for the future? I don't know any of those things. It never even occurred to me to find out. I'm such a terrible father. Ah! Osawa's fingers ceased their tapping on the keyboard as he thought back to when Maria and Notomi were younger. Now we see a young flashback photo of the twins looking so happy when they were younger, like they're hugging their father's legs. Daddy! Daddy! That reaches my heart. They look so cute, and they're like so happy, and I got flashback from my little sister, my adopted sister, when she was this small. She looked up on me the same way, and it's like I really miss those days. I really do. I was too busy with school. I wish I could spend more time with her, playing with her when she was a kid. Daddy! Daddy! The two girls would follow him up around like a pair of puppies. Their father was their everything. That much was clear just by looking at their faces. He'd felt a ticklish giddiness at having his girl cling to him so. He had never felt anything like this in his life. But there were times where he also found it tiresome. Yeah! I am sick of being the person I am. There's nothing I can do about that, though. I'm sure it's far too late for me to change. He poured out all of his negative emotion into his post. Felt like a stream of consciousness drivel, but he didn't hesitate to write down all the same. He wanted other people to know what his miserable excuse for a human being he was. At last, when he wouldn't think of anything else to add, he posted his bitter confession to the forum. He was staring numbly at the monitor when he heard a furious shout from the next room. You have got to be kidding me! Oh. It was Kajiwara, and Osawa never heard him so angry. Oh, so that's why I thought that when I read this sentence, it's gotta be I, because Tanaka's dead, and Kajiwara would never say something like that. Because he's always calm and reserved, and he's never been one raise his voice, even once, even though he's a total douchebag, but... You have got to be kidding me! Osawa headed to the living room and found Kajiwara embroiled with a vehement argument with the other detectives. Like, yeah, all the 6 other detectives, all dressed in black, all wearing glasses, all having a laptop on their hands. Like, it's like they're ready to pack and leave. I don't care what HQ policy is, I will not just quietly go along with this. Kajiwara has already screamed himself red in the face. You're out of line, snapped one NPD detective. Kichi Sawatari with the Metropolitan Police Department's first criminal investigation section. Having heard of Kajiwara's past deeds for friends at the Shibuya precinct, he recommended to his boss that Kajiwara be assigned to the investigation at the Osawa residence. After seeing detective interaction with Osawa, he is confident that his recommendation was in the right. However, given the circumstances, he can't help but take a cold stance toward Kajiwara. Hold your tongue! I don't care if I'm out of line. You may have talent, I'll give you that, the other detective said. But you're a precinct detective, and this isn't your jurisdiction. It's not your place to question orders from higher up. Wait, so I thought Kajiwara really is a real detective after all? Go on. Explain the situation to Mr. Osawa. Kajiwara bit his lip in frustration at the other detective's order. Very well, he said. Okay. But before he could say any more, Osawa noticed that the police equipment has already been cleared off of the table. Hold on, Osawa said. What's going on? Has something happened? Allow me to explain, sir, Kajiwara said. His bitterness showed plainly on his face. We've been recalled, sir. The MPD has established a security force headed by members of its Public Security Bureau to deal with the bioterrorist threat. Because the kidnapping task force has not yet found Maria and she's infected with the virus, the task force personnel have instead been absorbed into the security force and will continue their work under this direction. Yeah, since they were there, they've been placed in the Osawa's residence because of the kidnapping case. Now, since it's become a bioterrorism case, and that they have 12 hours or less to react, they need all their operatives to move elsewhere. So now, yeah, they're packing things. So they're gonna be leaving Osawa's residence. Osawa narrowed his eyes, fighting to keep the confusion from his face. What do you mean by that? He was shaking, terrified to have his suspicion confirmed. I'm truly sorry, sir, for having been unable to help you. Kajiwara gave a deep and solemn bow. But, Maria, what's going to happen to her? Another unit has been tasked with bringing your daughter into custody, sir. That will be Stanley's. That much, at least, Osawa could process. Yeah. Like the US, the CIA, invited himself into the case, so now they're gonna be taking care of Maria since it's gonna be like national security. But Like this is like a world terrorism. So yeah. You're going to place her under quarantine, aren't you? Kajiwara's lips stiffened, but he nodded. In order to minimize the spread of the virus. So I'm told.
No!
Osawa cried.
You can't do that! If you do, there won't be any way to save her!
His head spun.
Please, I beg of you. You need to get Maria to me. I might be able to save her.
When Kajiwara didn't respond, he turned to the other detectives.
Please, don't you can't place Maria under quarantine.
But the detective's only answer was to avert their eyes.
Why are you all ignoring me? Please, you have to listen. If you bring her to me, I can figure something out. I know I can.
He plunked himself down on the floor, yelling and flailing his arm like a child throwing a tantrum. All six of them are leaving. The detective exchanged sullen looks with one another and then walked off and left him there. He knew he must be a sorry sight, but nevertheless, he kept shouting after them.
Please don't stand by and let my daughter die.
Only Kajiwara remained with him in the living room. I'm sorry, sir. This was beyond my ability to stop. He gave another apologetic bow. Osawa felt suddenly deflated.
No, you've done a fine job, Detective Kajiwara. It's me you should be sorry. I've made such a disgraceful display of myself.
Oh, that's not true, sir. In fact, I'm deeply moved. I can tell how much Maria must mean to you. Osawa shook his head.
If I'd really been thinking about Maria, I would have made an effort to work with you detectives more. That was all just self-absorbed shouting. A moment of emotional selfishness.
And yet, as a result, you convinced me to stay here with you. Kajiwara processed to pull out his phone and put in a request with the task force headquarters to remain at the Osawa residence. He got into a heated spat with his commanding officer, but ultimately received permission to stay on as the police liaison with Osawa. Well, the detective said when he hung up. You see, there are some people who are legitimately moved by a parental display of emotion. Even if I'm not certain what I can do very much in staying here with you.
That's not true, Osawa replied. There's plenty you can help me with.
He looked into Kajiwara's face and smiled. For instance, I can have a banana whenever I want. You find things that have gone missing. That fried eggs on ice you made was delicious. I'm gonna go with
you find things that have gone missing.
Like that plane ticket you mean? Kajiwara gave a bashful smile.
Yes. I have never found it if you hadn't been there, Detective.
Well, like they say, you can never find something when you're looking for it. Then a hint of sadness came to Kajiwara's eyes, and his voice grew quieter. My daughter. She has this little toy ring that she loved, and she lost it in our house somewhere.
I didn't realize you had a daughter, Detective.
So, she just started grade school this year.
Oh, really? She must be adorable.
Well, I don't get to see her as much as I'd like. A lonely sort of smile crossed Kajiwara's face.
Why is that?
Doing this job caused me to neglect my family. Finally, about 2 years ago, my wife hit me with the divorce paperwork. I wanted to be able to keep our daughter with me, but... well, the law tends to favor the mother when it comes to custody issues. The detective pulled 2 bars of chocolate from his pocket. Osawa accepted one but said nothing. How is this cut? It looks like this piece of chocolate has already been in it, and it's gonna give it to him. You want some chocolate? I already hit that. I already bit from that end, but go ahead. I promise I don't have Kona. I don't have Rhoda with me. The toy ring she lost, I bought it for her as a birthday present. She loved it so much, and she cried and cried when it was gone. I looked all over for it." The detective bit into his own chocolate bar with a soft snap. "So then later, this toy ring, I found it after my wife took our daughter away." "Ah! And do you know where it was?" Osawa shook his head slightly. "Under my daughter's mattress. Fell out when the bed was being taken out of the room. Isn't that funny? That it was somewhere I would never have found if she'd stayed." Another sad smile came to Kajiwara's face before he went on. "I guess there wasn't much point, though, finding it after she was already gone." The man had lost his daughter. Osawa couldn't help but sympathize. Here was someone he could really talk to. He was sure of that much now. "Detective, I apologize. I've kept things from you before because I was worried that they involve classified corporate information." "Oh?" Kajiwara's eyes glimmered with interest. "Earlier today I received some emails. They could be pertinent to the case. Would you mind letting me see them?" So shook his head. "On the contrary." Back in front of his computer, Osawa saw that Ayanet was still open. "Pretty Honey has responded to his forum post. This is Rumi's father, by the way. We just realized in last week in Kano's storyline that he had a laptop waiting for Kano, and his ID was Pretty Honey. So, one moment, just let me read this." Osawa read the message. This was no time to... No, let's... I want to hear what Pretty Honey has to say. One moment, just let me read this. Osawa read the response. "I got that same result. Do you really think it's too late? Don't give up hope. Hang it there." It's some sort of emote, P, and then smiley face Q. Oh, those are fists. Hang it there, like, yeah. It's never too late. Every family has its share of problem. Like, you'll never find one that doesn't, I'm sure. When it comes to family, there's no such thing as game over. So don't let it get to you down, Julie. Another emote. Is that teary eye? It's teary eye and smiley face. Besides, I did learn one thing from reading your post. In the end, a father's happiness is his daughter's happiness. Happy Kappa face. Kajiwara peered into the monitor. A young girl is posting to a forum for people 40 and older? It's Pretty Honey. She's already replies to my threads. Yeah, and Pretty Honey is 40 and older, even though he types like a young girl. The detective furrowed his brow. I see. Is something the matter? No. That last line just got me curious is all. A young girl writing something like that. Well, that's neither here nor there right now. Let me see those emails if you would. Osawa opened his email. He pulled up the image of the human testing on the monitor. What is this? Kajiwara stared at the monitor as if unable to look away. These are images from unauthorized clinical testing of an antiviral drug I developed carried out by my company without my knowledge. Images of, I'm sorry, what was that? The detective frowned at the unfamiliar terminology. In simple terms, the antiviral is a wonder drug to combat the war virus. Hold on. Maria is infected with the war virus, isn't that right? Yes.
Wa is a species of a virus discovered in South Africa relatively recently. Roughly 12 hours after infection, patients develop a cough, then a fever, then begin vomiting, and ultimately began to bleed uncontrollably from all over, resulting in death. The mortality rate is 100%. So I was reluctant to say it. Kajiwa held his breath, waiting. Nearly 100%. 99.999991.
Kajiwara shuddered. But wait, he said after a moment. If you have this wonder drug, then Maria...
Osawa shook his head. Without Tanaka, I have no means of getting it out of the lab.
Kajiwara frowned deepened. I see. It may not be much to go on, but I think we can put together at least one piece of our little mystery here. Something difficult or impossible to explain. Enigma. Oh, this is a You see plenty of books titled The Mystery of Such and Such or The Secret of Whatever on bookstore shelves, but when you read them, you're invariably disappointed by the mystery not being that mysterious after all. they bothered to put a definition of mystery that they had at the end. It's like... pardon me one moment. Kajiwara inspected the email address of the sender A, then brought up the mail header. You don't see email address like this much.
It's seemingly from a foreign country, but that may be fake.
You can tell that just from the email? The detective flashed a little grin.
Take a look here.
If you just do this, and then this... His finger flew over the keyboard, calling the reader's header's details, singling out the receive from field. This set of 4 numbers at the bottom is the sender's IP address. Think of it as an ordinary hidden location marker of sorts. As he spoke, the detective pulled up a website called IP Station. He copy and paste set of 4 numbers and pressed the enter key. The monitor showed the name of the provider, connection method, and other such details. A vendor that provides an internet connection service. A typical internet connection requires a dedicated line. Customers who do not already have one must make a contract for one with the provider. When the provider establishes your connection to the internet, you are assigned an identifying number called an IP address. Osawa couldn't make heads or tails for most of it, but one thing drew his eyes. Access point, Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. Kajiwara went into the email programs option and checked the server's info for Osawa's connection. Deep furrows formed in his head. This is the same provider that you use, Mr. Osawa.
What does that mean?
What kind of internet connection do you have here at your house?
What sort? Well, it's plugging over there, but
Osawa pointed at the roller. And does everyone in your family use the same line?
Yes, I think so.
Kajiwara opened up a command prompt, then type ipconfig. Command prompt, a literal prompt for user to issue computer control command via keyboard instead of mouse. Also frequently used to refer to the window of program allowing for such. ipconfig. Okay, so if the same number we saw before pop up here, that's a bad sign.
Oh?
Osawa stared at the monitor. Kajiwara pressed enter and the black window covered in white alphanumeric character appeared. What the heck? Kajiwara muttered under his breath.
Wait, what's going on? Osawa asked. Explain simply so I can understand.
Faking an email address isn't simple enough, but a typical person wouldn't be able to fake an IP. It's very likely that these emails were sent from another computer inside this house. Osawa has to stifle a gasp. The emails has been sent from his own house at around 11 o'clock that morning. Since Osawa hadn't been sent them himself, that left only one possible culprit. Suddenly his phone rang, nearly startling him out of his seat. Makino's name showed up on the incoming call display. Osawa quickly picked up. Is there an update on... Oh, wait. Is there an update on the emergency board meeting? He blurred. Makino's voice was quiet and subdued.
I tried putting whatever strings I could, but to no avail. I'm afraid holding a board meeting today just won't be possible.
The telephone fell from Osawa's The phone fell from Osawa's hand. His only possible means of saving Maria was now gone. To be continued. What a nice way to end this side of a story. Alright. Alright, so Minorikawa. Did we hit a bad ending with him? No, we got rid of that because we told... Oh, I have to do this over again? All over again. Alright. This is where I'm gonna have another bag of chips. Third time's the charm. Come on, what's it gonna be this time? The taxi stop outside of Evan Publishing. The trip has taken 10 minutes on the dot. Thanks! The 1,000 yen bill, exited the cab. Sir! The driver called after him. Nakawa turned back around. Kimizuka was leaning out the window to point at him. It isn't called work because it's fun, sir. The day will be over soon enough. Just hang in there a little bit longer. The driver finished with a knowing grin. Minorikawa cracked the ghost of a smile. Maybe his spirit has been lifted just a tiny little bit. Thank you, he replied. You're a true friend of the working man. He waved half-heartedly, then headed into the building. Mr. Mino! This is Shiaki. Oh wait, that's not his voice. Mr. Mino! Shiaki threw herself at him as soon as he opened the door to the editing office. News of the explosion was playing on the television. Minorikawa marched straight to his desk and opened up his laptop. While he booted up, he tried to get a handle on the current situation. Where are the folks from the loan company? He asked. They're here, Shiaki said. I have them waiting downstairs. Do they know Toyama's dad? I'm sorry. I kind of let that slip.
What about Hana?
I'm not sure.
I haven't heard of her since she called earlier.
With a tiny sigh, Mirakawa started typing at his laptop. By some miracle, the 6th page of the copy were nearly wrapped up. Still, he needed to do whatever it took to see his job through the end. That would serve as his final tribute to Toyama's memory. He loaded his copy into the DTP software in order to set the layout. Bit by bit, actual magazine articles began to take shape. Then the editing department door swung open.
Hey!
Snarled the young man who barged in first. He kicked over a stack of books.
How long are you gonna keep us waiting, huh?
Honestly, Sagawa, must you be so rowdy?
A middle-aged man stepped into alongside him.
Are you Mr. Mirakawa then?
He asked as his eyes fixed on the journal. He all held out his business card.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Asayo Ozu from Takara.
Taking whatever step necessary to collect what's owed, his business card slogan got bad credit, but you need a loan, call anytime. We'll put together a loan that suits your needs.
My deepest sympathies about Mr. Toyama. However, I'm afraid that we do need you to give us back the money we loaned.
Despite his polite tone, the threat in his voice was plain.
Look, next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip is definitely coming out. Can you please wait for repayment until we have the funds for these sales?
Mirakawa asked. That was exactly what Toyama's plan has been, after all.
Well, we certainly aren't monsters. If the magazine is going to be making you money, we wouldn't mind delaying it another month.
You really mean it?
Shiaki chirped.
To clarify, that would be the case if Toyama was still alive. Releasing the next issue is all well and good, but with Toyama gone, so too is the company. That will make full repayment of what we owed impossible, I expect.
Then what do you want us to do?
Mirakawa asked coldly.
Ah, but we just cut to the chase,
Growled the younger man, Sagawa.
Yeah, how about we just cut to the chase? Dig out your ears and listen up!
Shiaki recalled in the panic and Mirakawa held up an interposing hand.
Knock it off, he said. You're scaring the young lady.
A thin smile came to Uzu's face.
All we want to know is where Mr. Toyama's daughter is.
Yeah, that's right, Sagawa said. Tell us where the girl is.
No way, Shiaki squeaked in protest. Hana's just a little kid. She doesn't have any responsibility to pay back the... Ozu didn't let her finish.
Oh, we're aware of that. Nevertheless, we'd still like to know where she is.
The law didn't matter right now. Guys like this had all sorts of ways of wringing money out of people. It was clear from the look of their faces that Ozu and Sagawa had some wicked scheme up the sleeves.
Unless, of course, you would prefer to take on Toyama's debt, Mr. Minorikawa? You are quite the accomplished reporter, after all.
Take on his debts, huh? Minorikawa didn't know how much Toyama had borrowed, but it only took one look at these guys to tell him it was no small sum.
How about it? Ozu asked. The way you land scoop after scoop, I'm sure you'll be able to repay us in full before you die.
Mirakawa fiercely returned his stare. I'll take on the debt, I'll cancel it, we'll give you some time. They want us to say yes, right?
Can't we just call it even?
The two men stiffened.
What was that?
The older of the two demanded. Nothing, never mind. Can we just call it even?
Nothing, never mind.
Now then, how about we stick around until you feel so inclined? The two men from Takarada Financing plunked themselves down on the editing department sofa. Mr. Mino, you're not actually going to take on that debt, are you? Shiaki asked quietly. Minorikawa sat at his desk looking over the copy he'd written. That's none of your concern, he said. What I need to know is, how's your piece of those street interviews coming?
But, I mean, those guys... They said it doesn't matter if the issue comes out or not.
Don't be ridiculous. When a professional agrees to take on a job, they see it through to the end.
Shiaki took his point and scampered to grab the printout of a copy. Minorikawa gave it a quick once-over. He saw immediately what the piece was lacking in structure. He then read the article a second time, checking the finer details. Several of team's sentences jumped up onto him. This is no good. Rewrite it. He trusted the printout back at Shiaki.
Yes, sir.
She bowed her head and retreated to another desk. The TV was still on. A news broadcaster voice suddenly broke through the silence, as well as Minorikawa's concentration. We're live on the scene now, where an explosion in Shibuya has... Minorikawa gazed blankly at the screen. He found his mind drifting to a particular memory of Toyama. The door looked like it might fall apart at any moment, but Minorikawa didn't care. He pounded on it as hard as he could. The Toyama nameplate popped off and fell onto the floor. It was hard to believe this dilapidated apartment was the home of a newspaper editor who'd work his way up from reporter.
Hey, Toyama, get your house out here!
All the sound of Minorikawa's angry shouting. Other tenants on the floor poked their heads out of their room to stare. He paid them no heed, continuing to call out. Eventually, Toyama opened the door, dressed in his sweats and undershirt.
Quiet down, you moron, he snapped. Come on in. I hear you tender your letter of resignation at the paper.
Minorikawa sat cross-legged at the tatami-covered floor.
Tell me why.
Toyama quirked a lopsided grin.
You want to know why I quit, huh? All right, leaning close.
Minorikawa peered at him dubiously. Huh? Wait. It's the other way around.
I hear you tender your letter of resignation at the paper. Tell me why.
You want to know why I quit, huh? All right, leaning close.
Huh? Why?
I don't want anyone overhearing this.
Resigned, Minorikawa leaned forward and turned his right ear toward Toyama. The man's warm breath against his cheek was pretty unsettling. At first, he had trouble concentrating on Toyama's story. But then the older man got to the crux of the matter. He found himself listening with rapt attention. By the time Toyama finished, Minorikawa was able to suppress his shock.
You're starting your own publishing company?
Not so loud, damn it.
Toyama shushed him with a finger to his lip. He looked around warily as if there might be spies in his room apartment. Yeah, for some reason.
Right. But a publishing company?
Minorikawa said again, more quietly this time.
What are you doing for your distributor account?
All booksellers were required to use a wholesale distributor to circulate their publication. To do business with such a distributor, a publisher needed a specialized distributor account.
You're not going to let a company with no track record open a new account with a distributor. I'm sure you must realize that.
Toyama grinned at a proud gleam in his eyes.
I know, that's why I bought one.
You bought one?
A ghost account belonging to a publisher that went bankrupt.
Distributor accounts could go for tens of millions of yen. There was no way Toyama could afford that on his severance pay alone. He must have taken out a loan in order to make the purchase. Oh. But the publishing industry was in a slump nowadays. People weren't just buying books much anymore. Starting up a new publishing company was a beyond risky endeavor.
And I've already decided on the name for my company, Minorikawa.
Toyama's face was positively beaming.
Get this. Heaven Publishing.
Heaven? That sounds fatalistic.
The idea is that the people who work for me will feel like they're in paradise. For all this kvetching about keeping quiet,
Toyama was now exclaiming pretty loudly himself.
I mean, I can appreciate
your willingness to take the risk, but surely your wife must have objections, Minakawa said. Toyama fell silent and went and opened up the refrigerator. Minakawa took a peek inside. There's beer, there's some green tea, and snacks. The shelves were mournfully sparse, holding little besides beer cans and drinking snacks.
The missus left me, took our daughter with her.
Those scant few words painted the picture clearly enough. Toyama grabbed a can of beer and tossed it to his guest. He gave him an Asahi. Those guys drink Asahi beer.
But no more sob stories.
He briskly cracked open his own can of beer. Weak foam bubbled from the top.
Cheers, Minorikawa, to Heaven Publishing's big debut.
He cast everything aside and was striving for a new beginning. If the man had braced himself for the challenge, it wasn't Minorikawa's place to tell him he was making a mistake. Even if it was an uphill battle, he had a little chance of winning. Congrats, Mr. Toyama! Minorikawa pulled the tab on his beer can. Cheers! The two of them clacked their cans together. 1 year had passed since Toyama founded Heaven Publishing. Only 1 year?! Minorikawa poked his head into his editing office, a bag from the convenience store in hand. Hey boss, how's business?
How does it look like it's doing?
Toyama said amidst a veritable mountain of returned stock, his expression bleak. Bookstores do not purchase the books they sell, but rather take them on consignment. This allows them to return to the publisher any books that do not sell. Yeah. The books were all bulky non-fiction tomes, not exactly the sort to fly off the shelves. The man couldn't even muster a smile for their reunion.
It's been like this for every non-fiction book we've put out.
Wow, starting right off with the bleak stuff, huh?
'Cause things are bleak. The only thing that's selling is this gossip rag of yours.
Minorikawa pulled some beer cans from his bag, handing one to Toyama. Toyama lifted an issue of 4-star General Gossip from the top of his desk. It was Heaven Publishing, one breadwinner, the only thing keeping the company afloat. What? But the gossip now seems like it was buried in the red of the publisher's non-fiction release.
I really did have higher inspiration than this,
Toyama sighed, gazing in disappointment at the pile of unsold books.
But here we are with our gossip magazine as our only viable publication.
The beleaguered bookseller chugged his beer.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
Minorikawa started to hear a young child's voice. He turned around to see a little girl nestled between the stacks of returned stock.
That's my daughter, Anna,
Toyama said.
It's complicated, but she's living with me now.
I see. Minorikawa couldn't press for more details with Hana right there. In all likelihood, things with Toyama's ex-wife hasn't been going well.
Go on, introduce yourself,
Toyama said.
This is one of Daddy's work friends.
Anna turned to Mirikawa with a bright little grin.
Hello. My name's Anna. I'm 6. You want some of this?
Mirikawa held... Oh, you want some of this? Mirikawa held up a packet of dried squid he bought to go with the beer.
Sure.
Anna greedily stuffed her cheek with the squid. Toyama flashed a sheepish grin.
Do you like living?
Do you like living with your daddy, Hana? Mirikawa asked, giving the girl's hair a gentle ruffle. Yeah, she's writing on her computer and there's a page on the next with the drawings.
Uh-huh. I do.
Oh, she's so cute! It's a young Hana. Oh my god, my heart is melting again.
My daddy's amazing. He runs a company.
Toyama let out a tiny involuntary sob as his daughter really praised. Oh.
I'll keep at it,
Toyama said, looking into his daughter's smiling face.
Anna is more important to me than any high inspiration I have had. I'll keep shoveling out copies of the gossip and at least make sure she's always got something good to eat.
Daddy, this is really tasty.
Anna held up the pouch of dry squid. Tears welled in Toyama's eyes. Yes. And I almost start to cry too. It's so bittersweet. It was like, aww. And the guy killed himself. What's gonna happen to Anna?
Next time, I'll make sure she has some sashimi instead of something like this.
Hey, what do you mean, something like this? Mirikawa grumbled. I'm the one who bought it. Toyama and his daughter laughed together. It was a heartwarming sight, Mirikawa thought, a father and his girl getting along so well. Toyama might have been a hard-hitting journalist, but when he came home at the end of the day, he was just daddy. It was only natural for the man, as a father, who put his child above anything else. Then she went to bed. After gorging herself on snacks, Anna fell asleep on the sofa, looking well and truly satisfied.
You know, Minorikawa, Anna's happiness means more to me than my lofty artistic ideas ever could.
Toyama kept his voice low as he regarded his daughter's sleeping face. And from that day forward, Evan Publishing has shifted its focus to scandal rags with 4-star general gossip as its pillar. Had that been for good or for ill? Whatever the case, Toyama had abandoned his pride. Mirikawa has watched him become more and more of a miserable wretch. Yeah, back to present! Mirikawa snapped back into the present as a sheaf of page appeared in front of his face. Here you go, Shiryaki said, radiating anxiety. Right. Mirikawa gave her a copy, a close read over, then thrust it back out to her. What did you even fix? He asked. Could you please tell me what parts are wrong? She mumbled in her head. What are you talking about? It's just, well, we don't have a lot of time here, so I figure if I just fix the parts that need fixing. Sheki trailed out into an indistinct mutter. Is that always how you got about fixing your copy? Yes. Then you're never going to get any better! If someone tells you it's no good, you rewrite the whole thing from scratch! Just making fiddly tweaks here and there is what an amateur does! Shiaki dipped her head even deeper, cringing at the reprimand. Mirikawa let off a tiny sigh. Look, what I just told you, that's what Toyama told me when I was starting out. First. There were times he'd have me do dozens of rewrites. At first, I thought he was just pushing me around. But after rewriting things over and over, I realized something. There are lots of ways you can write about the same thing. And that's what helped me hold my skill as a writer. Sheki raised her head back up. Oh, wow. Really? If you can't get that, then stick with it. Write your submission deadline as close as you have to in order to write the best piece you can. Okay, I can do it. I will do it. Finally, Chiaki's face brightened with a smile.
That's the spirit.
The woman might have talent, but she hadn't realized it yet. She needed to be able to stick to an assignment even though things got tough. If she didn't have that kind of resolve, she would never make it as a freelancer.
Oi! How touching!
Ozu chimed in, applauding.
I'm almost moved to tears. They'll make a movie of this for sure, see? We only had been acquainted with that sad sap Toyama. We never knew there was such an upstanding fellow here with so good at tough love.
Mirikawa shot to his feet and pounded his fist on the desk.
That's about enough from the peanut gallery. Hold your tongue!
Segawa snarled. His eyes shone with a vicious gleam.
We're getting sick of waiting here. Sugawa, you really are a short-tempered guy, aren't you?
Ozu clucked disapprovingly as his underling then slid a sheet of paper into Mirikawa's desk. Nevertheless, I'm afraid we do require a decision now. If you'll just stamp here, we'll be on our way. Chiaki stared down at the document.
Is this a bond of reconnaissance? Yeah, that's right. That's what you write when transferring a debt.
Segawa puffed himself out proudly. Mirikawa silently looked over the contract.
If you don't have a stamp, we'll gladly accept a signature as well, Ozu pointed out.
Face it, pal, Segawa added. If you don't want to hurry up and sign, we're never going to stop going after Toyama's daughter.
Mirikawa snatched out a pen.
Mr. Mino, you can't do this! Think about what you're doing!
Shaggy shouted.
If you go through with this, you'll just wind up like Mr. Toyama!
I won't.
Yes, you will!
Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa, damn it! I'm going to land so many scoops it will make your head spin. And I'm going to pay back this debt with Rebuild Haven Publishing.
But why would you take such a risk?
Chiaki sobbed. Minorikawa lowered his voice.
Because I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumsby kill his daughter.
Oh my god, he did. Minorikawa readied his pen and signed the document.
Alright!
Segawa cheered.
Now we're talking.
A satisfied grin came to Ozu's face as he reached for the contract. But before he could pick it up, Chiaki snatched it from the desk.
I'm not letting you do this!
Crumpling the paper, she stuffed it right into her mouth.
Hey!
Segawa snapped.
What the hell are you doing?
He tried to force Chiaki's mouth open.
Don't you dare, you bitch!
But despite his frantic efforts, Chiaki managed to gulp the wad of paper down. Wow! Segawa blinked a few times.
Oh, you did not just do that!
Ozu looked down, dumbstruck.
Guess we're gonna get a new contract from the office, boss.
Bring as many as you want, Shenny declared. I'll just keep eating them. Girl, you some goddamn goat or something.
The mental image of a girl eating paper is a common one, dating back from long ago, when a paper was made solely out of plant material. If a girl were to eat modern paper, the wad of chemically treated pulp would go undigested and probably cause an intestinal blockage. So please, do not feed paper to goats! Segawa shoved Chiaki against the desk.
Ow, cut it out! That hurts!
As she struggled to resist, Chiaki lurched toward the desk, planting one of her hands at the TV remote control. One of her fingers happened to land on the volume up button. The sound from the television set soon hit max volume. We have just learned that the explosion earlier claimed the life of one man. While police have stated that there's a likelihood of foul play at work, they are also pursuing leads that this was a potential suicide. He hadn't released a name, but they must have been talking about Toyama. Feeling the impact of his mentor's death all over again, Mirikawa slumped back into his chair, his body languid and lifeless. Oh, you dumbass! Toyama was not in the van. That's Tanaka. Still, it was one thing he could do for the friend he'd lost. Draw up a new contract. I'll sign it.
Mr. Mino!
Don't argue with me. I've made up my mind. Sheki fell silent.
No reneging on our deal now, Ozu said with a nasty sneer. I do hope you don't get any funny ideas about running out on us.
But Mirakawa didn't need a warning. He had no such plans. Segawa slapped a new contract onto the desk.
Here, sign it.
Mirakawa signed for a second time. Segawa stepped in to make doubly certain that Sheki couldn't eat it.
I do hope you're able to earn enough to pay us back in short order, Mr. Mirakawa.
With a satisfied grin, Ozu smacked him on the shoulder. Mirakawa stood on deck as his ship set out to cross the rolling waves. In order to pay back the loan as soon as he could, he had to quit his financially unreliable career as a freelancer. Is that a... That's a bad ending, right? It's gotta be. But still, this is Mirakawa's theme song. Out of my way! He's pointing to the horizon, he's wearing something, I don't know what exactly, but like...
Yeah, this is the era of Mirakawa. Full speed ahead! Yaha!
Alright, I need to change controllers because my controller ran out of battery. For over a year now, he's been sailing the seas, tossed by wind and waves as he went in the pursuit of his new goal. But as Mirakawa gazed out over the vast, wild ocean, his eyes shone with the self-same gleam that lit them in days as a reporter chasing after the truth. With pen exchanged for fishing rod, he saw a brand new destiny. What? Forge onward, Mirakawa, for the diamonds of the sea. The rare bluefin tuna. Oh my god, is that how he's gonna repay his debt? Bad end. What do you think? Number 61, A Man of the Sea. Mirakawa took on Toyama's old debt and was forced to set out for a new life at sea. But was that really Toyama who was killed in the explosion? Mirakawa's future might turn out differently if he hears who actually was inside that minivan. But they didn't say. How would he, oh! Kano! No, Kano. Yeah, they didn't say the name on the media. Oh. I have to go back to Kano. Wait, not here. Wait, is this here? Am I at the right spot? Tell Shizuo the situation. Oh no, I'm too early. Oh no, this is perfect. Okay, Kano has been moved. Yeah, for some reason, Kano's story has been, the Kano's timeline has been erased. The prince sent always, yeah. So I have to go back. So now we're back with Kuze, and yeah, we need to. Explain the situation. They erase so much, I don't know why. Maybe because I played so much with the other timelines. I don't know why they didn't kept it. Release his name. I think releasing the name should be alright. There was still a lot they didn't know about Tanaka. The fact that the final stop for the ransom relay was Tanaka's condo implied some sort of connection between him and the kidnappers. But they still had no idea what his role in the abduction might have been. They also didn't have any motive for why Tanaka would be helping the kidnappers in the first place. By sharing some of what they didn't know with the public, they might be able to garner some... Sorry, I pressed too soon. Garner some new leads, yeah.
You release the name? Alright then.
Without another word, Kuze headed back toward the conference room. Alright, now there's a TV, processor, blah 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 blah. But that is irrelevant now because... I'm gonna still play this. What happened if I... Yeah. That changed. A need to do something. Governor's press conference. This has been moved. The to be continued for Achi is at 4:35, and for Osawa is 4:40, and Minorikawa is still okay. So should I want? You know what? I'm gonna play Maria's until I got the keep out. Then I'm gonna jump back with her. Taken by the man with the cane, who happened to be Tateno. I had no idea. I thought Tateno had a mustache. I walk counter to the throng of people heading towards the scene of the explosion. The explosion happened in Shibuya Jinan Ichichomi. It's Ichichomi, near the intersection of Koendori and Organil. There's a gun pressed against my back, leaving me no choice but to continue marching forward. I don't have time for this right now. There's something I need to do. My frantic sense of urgency grows and grows. Kanan. The only clue I have is that name, the other hazy snippets that have surfaced in my memory provide no answers. Please just tell me, I murmured. Do you know who I am? When the man with the cane doesn't answer, I stop in my tracks. I'm going to start shouting, I warn him.
If you want to find out who you are, then do as I say.
The barrel of the gun jabs more forcefully into my back.
Once we find Hitomi Osawa, you'll remember, whether you like it or not.
Guess I have no choice but to keep us moving then.
Are you memories really that precious to you?
The man mutters as we start to move again. I'm taken aback by the question. Well, yes! I mean, isn't that pretty normal? There isn't a bit of pause before he replies, his voice sad and distant.
You're not going to remember just the good times, you know.
What do you mean?
I mean that sad and painful memories are going to resurface too.
I guess I hadn't really thought about that. But still, whatever kind of memories they are, they're all a part of me. I'm the person I am now because of the sorrow and pain too. I want to remember. I want to remember who I am. The gunman directs me dispassionately along a series of quiet side streets.
Right here.
I stop at his words. In front of us is an old multi-tenant office building. We ride the elevator to the 8th floor, then use the emergency exit to take the stairs up to the rooftop. Cool breeze blows across my cheek.
Sit down there.
I do as he says, settling myself on the outdoor air conditioning unit. The man lowers his gun but keeps it in his hand.
We'll wait here for a bit.
For how long? He lets out a rueful chuckle.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
I decided there's no point in trying to fight with him. For now, I have to hope he's telling the truth, and whatever's coming will help me get my memories back. If I don't know my past, how can I know what to do about this Canaan stuff or anything else? I stare up at the sky as I wait for whatever this assassin is waiting for. The silence between us is suffocating. Finally, I can't take it any longer. So I think this is yours. I hold out the notebook I picked up earlier. The man's surprise is plain on his face.
Where did you get that?
I saw the picture inside. He snatches the book out of my hand. Then he flips through it looking sad. I'm afraid that another agonizing silence is about to descend when he speaks at last.
This is a picture of me and my childhood friends.
His voice is low and quiet.
We were inseparable back when we were kids. The boy here, he likes to fiddle with machines, always doing things like taking apart radios and whatnot and putting them back together. He was a total bookworm too, so he got picked on a lot. But I was always there to save him from the bullies.
All of a sudden, the guy's in a sharing mood, I guess. I can feel his aura of murderous rage starting to abate.
The girl here was the same age as us, but she felt more like a big sister. Whatever stupid things my other friends and I got up to, she was always willing to laugh it off. So, decide to stay quiet, keep listening. What was her name? I want to know more. So, was this some sort of love triangle? Guess. I'm the nosy sort. Okay.
So, what was her name? I asked, curious to know more.
Oh, Kotone. We dated when we were in high school.
Oh, wow. I get the impression from that picture that the other boy must have liked Kotoni too, right?
The gunman's...
The gunman's eyes widen.
You're very astute.
Call it a woman's intuition, I say proudly. Then I ask the obvious follow-up. So, what happened to you two?
I dumped her.
The man carefully slips the notebook into the pocket inside his jacket. How come? I ask.
I felt it was for the best.
He lets out a little chuckle, then stands up and brushes the door off his pants. He looks strangely lonely.
And keep out. And now back to Canaan. So we're gonna do the jump. There you go. Phone call from Tatano. Meet me at the building, blah blah blah. Hello, Tyler. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, right now I thought it was gonna be the final chapter for 428 Shibuya Scramble, but I just realized that there's more. There's another hour after that, because the story make it look like we're gonna get close to the ending, but there's so much action, even more twists, that it's not even enough to get it done under 1 hour of story time. So what's gonna happen is like, I'm about to do a jump. This is why I'm not reading anything. Alright, here it is. Here's the jump.
Let's do the time jump again.
There you go. So, let's do the jump.
I hear a faint voice and realize that the man is listening to a wireless radio.
I've managed to secure Itomi Osawa at Shibuya Central Hospital.
The voice said.
This is Jack Stanley.
A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls his cell phone from his jacket and hurriedly makes a call.
I've secured Maria Osawa.
He says to whoever is on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa? Is my name Maria Osawa?
You need to bring Itomi Osawa to my location at once.
Itomi Osawa. If I'm Maria Osawa, what sort of relationship do I have to Itomi?
If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria.
Then my captor hangs up.
Oh no, I think that was Kano on the other hand. Yeah, I was calling someone on a wireless. Oh yeah, no, probably Stanley. Stanley was on the wireless, and then he called Kano on the cell phone.
Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me?
Don't look at me like that.
He steps in closer to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he'd lost during our little talk is back in full force.
Just bear with me a little longer.
He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it all. Just then, I heard Kana's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. Oh, the cat squirtle!
How are you able to do that when the string is so tangled up?
Oh, once you do the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. I'm showing Kaylin how to do a cat squirtle. She reaches out for the string.
Huh?
She doesn't get hold of it quite right.
What gives?
Despite her effort, the string gets all jumbled up. No, not like that, I said. Hook your index fingers through the front part of the string.
No, I get that.
Caden's getting irritated. But after giving a few more tries, she finally managed to pull it off. There we go, she says. Look at that. Seeing her innocent little smile bolstered my own spirits.
That's neat. Thanks for teaching me.
Oh, it's nothing special.
Here, as a thanks, let me teach you some skills to help protect yourself.
Abruptly, my memory jumped forward a bit. Kaden has been training me in some sort of self-defense.
Don't overthink it.
She says.
People will either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you. If you can't stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there.
She demonstrates some defensive movements as I watch. I follow suit, doing my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this! Stop! Ow! Kaden throws a punch at me, I dodge, grabbed her by the wrist, and I give her her arm in a hard twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming into her face.
Nicely done,
she says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I really just do that?
Once you repeat the movement enough, your body will treat it like second nature.
I do as she says, try to repeat the movement over and over. My fist, at first it feels like a silly gimmick, but eventually I can feel the motion growing smoother.
There you go. People like those thugs we met before won't get the drop on you again.
Thugs? Now my memory zips further back into the past. I was wandering the streets trying to get back to my hotel, but I got lost. By the time I realized I wandered through some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. They must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they had caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kanan has seen to that. Thank you so much for what you did for me.
I didn't want there to be a scene here.
Kanan says bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the Tux attack.
That's all.
I'd happened to be right underneath her apartment window when I was nearly adopted. Bit by bit, my memories of Kanan are starting to resurface. Just a little more, and I'll have myself back. I'm sure of it. Detective Tatano, where are you? A man's voice suddenly snaps all back into me for the moment.
Oh, Detective Tatano, where are you?
Oh, a man's voice suddenly snaps me back into the moment.
It's Kano. I've come as you asked.
The gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet.
Where's Hitomi Osawa? Where's Hitomi Osawa?
He snarls.
Why didn't you bring her? Detective Tatano, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria?
My captors removes my blindfold. Ah, light! There's a Goodyear blimp on top of me. The first thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly by overhead. Huh? I'm sure I've seen it before. And pretty recently at that. Where was it? When was it? There's a flash of revelation inside my head. Like a dam bursting. My memories come flooding back to me. The party! The adoption! The minivan! I dropped my necklace! Ah!
Oh my god, I just realized. The necklace she bought at the knick-knack shop was the one she was wearing last night at the party. When she got abducted, she dropped it. The guy found it and resell it for 40,000 yen. And she had to buy it back for 30,000. Oh my god.
When this is all over, I'm gonna kick this guy's ass and reclaim my 30,000 yen. Last night, I was at the party, a sort of mixer with the exchange students. Someone was planning to use this party as an opportunity to abduct my sister Hitomi. So I told Hitomi that the party started 1 hour later than it really did. I had a plan to let myself get abducted in Tommy's place. Of course, the idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with tiny GPS.
Really? Holy shit.
Wherever I happened to be taken, Kanan would be able to track my location. What we hadn't counted on, though, was my necklace getting torn off when I was attacked. I managed to grab hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car, and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall gazing blearily out the car window. The blimp was there! Ayakamiki's blimp! That was when I saw the blimp right after we parked.
Yes, it went fine.
There was a man talking to someone on a cell phone.
All right, I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in the room upstairs.
The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Ow! Then I guess for good measure he hit me on the head again. That's right. There's more of it coming back to me now.
Now we see Kanan in the desert, walking with some sort of cloak vest.
When you spent your life in even a country at peace, in Japan, you couldn't possibly understand me.
Kanan again. So it's not like she and I became fast friends right away or anything. The two of us were too different in a lot of ways.
Where do you draw the line? What would you protect with your life? What does justice mean to you?
A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kanan asked me a few questions. And I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp on my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along. But I kept visiting Kanan's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time when we didn't have anything in particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw me deftly manipulating the strings with my fingers.
Who taught you how to do that?
She asked. My mother. My real mother, that is. Kanan furrowed a brow.
What do you mean, real?
Oh, as opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her that well.
I see,
Kanan said. Her expression remained unchanged. What about your parents, Kanan?
I don't have any. They died during the war.
The bluntness of her response made my hand stop, the string still stretched between them. Sensing that we were treading on some serious ground, I hurried to change the subject. Do you have any friends?
No. Well, I used to have one.
Her use of the past tense made me fear the worst. And I was right.
He was killed too, by an arms dealer named Alfred.
Her tone was dry, matter of fact.
Taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life.
Despite the gravity of her words, her face was an unreadable mask. She seems almost incapable of human emotions. So, what sort of person is this Alfred?
A destructionist who masquerades as a terrorist.
Destructionist? That sure wasn't the term that came up with a lot back in Japan.
Alfred doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. The chaos and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist acts.
So you're saying this Alfred commits terrorism because it's fun? Kanan nodded.
That's why every now and then Alfred changes loyalties. Just when you think you found ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, it turns out the job was for the American CIA.
What the heck? So Alfred stands for nothing then? Kanan smiled dismissively in my little childish outburst. I couldn't help but feel a bit patronized. I twiddled my finger, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Kanan's eyes fixed right back on the string. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quiet, watching closely as I worked my fingers. The tension in the room faded as the silence between us lengthened. My stepmother's the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing, I said at last. For some reason, I had a sudden urge to talk about my personal life. I guess she cares about herself more than looking after her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date, or that a woman's life is defined by a man. What a bitch! That was I! But it's not like I hate her or anything.
Would you mind teaching me?
Kanan asked softly. What? How to find a guy to date?
No.
She shook her head. She pointed to the cat's cradle strung between her fingers. Oh, you mean this? So I took her by the hand and started to teach her the cat's cradle. Do you mind if I ask you something? I said after a while.
What's that?
That friend you mentioned earlier. What was he like? Kanan's finger went still.
It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, you won't want to come here anymore.
That's not true, I insisted. Even though
I'm a terrorist?
She replied curtly. I swallowed a solid lump in my throat, unable to find words.
We fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists. Am I wrong?
She cast a quick look at my face. But, I mean, you protected me. My voice wavered as I replied.
All I did was take down some thugs. I just didn't want them around.
What could I say to that? I just stammered.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Huh? Kanan flashed me another slight condescending grin.
I was just joking, don't worry about it.
But I didn't get the sense that everything she said was a joke. Even if calling herself a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanan lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. I could tell that from the cold look in her eyes, a look you never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardship had she endured to acquire that deadly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Kanan tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about. Okay, here we go. She looked the string around She hooked the strings around her fingers and spread her palms. But the string shape just collapsed into a jumbled mess.
Confounded! Okay, one more time.
You can't make this into a game with two people, you know. I plucked the strings from Kanan's hand. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun than doing it by yourself. I wrapped the strings around my fingertips. What do you say? Want to give it a go? Kanan looked dubious. The intricately intertwined strings was like the whirl in a way. What had started as a single thread was now something that couldn't be undone just by pulling on it. I held my hands out, twirling the strings around my fingers. Kanan took the pattern from me and spread her palms apart. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with childish-like little laugh of my own. And, as if in a blaze of sunshine, the fog that's been hanging over my mind finished receding. I remember everything! My name is Maria Osawa. My sister is Itomi Osawa. And Kaden, she's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once, but now it's my turn to help her. I close my eyes, I reflect upon these precious memories, all the dearer for having been lost. Now when I try to picture Kaden, I can do so clearly. It's just as I thought before, my memories are what makes me who I am, and I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if time had stopped for me while my history was gone, and now it started moving again. I'm finally back to being me.
She opens her eyes and she kind of smiles.
And I have to go. I have to go back there one more time.
And this is the end of her story. And oh, so all right. So does that mean that at the 5 o'clock mark, she's not gonna be there anymore? Because her story is gonna be tangled with Kano's? Or maybe the to be continues is stop at 4:35 because I have to finish some of those story and then go back here. Alright, so now I finished Maria's story because now she has her memory back. So let's go back to Kano and continue with his story. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tatano, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? Tatano responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. There was no doubt about it. She looked very much like Hitomi Osawa. A surge of frustration rushed through Kano. Detective Tatano, what is the meaning of this? Kano fought to remain calm. He felt like he was on the verge of falling to pieces. Bring me Hitomi Osawa and I'll let this girl go. Why? What do you mean Hitomi for? But Tatano's only answer was an icy stare. This isn't like you. It's so weird. The detective Tatano, I know. Who you know? Tatano cut it off. What do you know about me? I know what sort of detective you are, sir. Because I've modeled myself after you for my whole career. The older man's expression remained stony. Don't you remember? Kano went on. That time when you risked your life to talk down to that man who's barricaded himself inside that office? Ever since then, you've been my... Tateno interrupted him with a sudden burst of laughter.
You really are gullible, you know that. You can only see things the way you want to see them.
What do you mean by that?
The truth is, I didn't even care if I died doing what I did. That's why I doused myself in gasoline.
Tateno's voice had gone low and quiet.
That was no display of heroics. It was more attempted suicide than anything else. I wasn't thinking about the other people still inside the building. It's just a coincidence. Things turns out the way they did.
So then, if you'd make a single misstep,
then everyone in that building might well have burned to death.
You're lying! That can't be true! Kano shook his head insistently.
I don't have time for this conversation.
Tateno pressed the barrel of his gun to Maria's head.
If you don't bring Itomi Osawa to me, believe me, I will blow her brains out.
Please, stop this! Kano shouted. There was no hesitation in Tateno's eyes. He looked like he really would shoot Maria if Kano didn't do as he's asked.
Hurry up! Bring Itomi to me!
Can't you at least tell me what's going on?
Go now, so help me, I'll shoot!
Kano drew his own gun from his jacket. I know you, Detective Tateno. I know there's some meaning behind all this. Kano's word came out as an imploring croak.
You think you can shoot me?
Tateno spat. Letting the Al-Karawan go free. Taking Maria hostage. This has to mean something. Sweat made Kano's hands slick where he clutched his gun.
I ask if you think you can shoot me.
I've always looked up to you. You were the sort of detective I wanted to become. Kano's view of Tateno began to blur as tears welled in his eyes.
Can you shoot me, Kano?
I can! Even as he cried, Kano stood resolutely doing his best to stare down at the older man. He set his finger squarely on the trigger and pointed his gun at Tateno's forehead. Suddenly, the piercing stare vanished from the other detective's eyes.
I've got to give you full marks for that, Kano.
Tateno smiled thinly.
I'll tell you then. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. It all happened 17 years ago. A meth addict has assaulted someone in Shibuya.
Tateno was questioning people around Dogenzaka in search for the perp. He happened to pass by Endo Electronics.
Oh, hey, Tateno!
Oh! It was Kotone Endo, clad in pristine white. That's Achi's mom, and that must be little baby Achi. Oh, he's so cute, little pudgy face. Look at him. Clutched on her breast was her daughter Suzune. Oh no, who's only a few months old. Oh, that was Suzune. So Suzune is 18 years old, and Achi is older, like 20. 19? I don't know. It's been a long time, Kotone said. She flashed a tiny smile. Wait! Kotone? That's the girl in the picture! She fell in love with her, and then he dumped her, and then she married Endo. Oh, so that's why. So that's why Tateno knew Achi. Because he knew her mother, his mother. Yes, it does. Tateno replied with a clumsy smile of his own.
Are you on the job?
Yes, I am. Kotone recoiled slightly at the door look on the dour look on Tateno's face.
Is something the matter?
There's an armed criminal hiding out somewhere in the area.
What?
I wouldn't leave the shop for a while if you can avoid it.
But I have to go to the bank to deposit some money.
Surely you can have Daisuke go do it.
He's away on a repair job and he hasn't come back yet.
Tateno let out a one-tone sigh. I see Daisuke still does things his own way. Alright, let me escort you to the bank.
You mean it? I feel a lot safer having you with me.
Kotone flashed him a smile so wide that Tateno thought he might lose himself in it. Yeah, she was a pretty woman. Yeah, Tateno, Kotone, and Daisuke were childhood friends and had gone to school together up through high school. So Daisuke, Endo, Lex. So this is young Achi's dad. He kind of looks like him though. And Kotone is really cute, really charming. Tateno and Daisuke were always clowning around together, and Kotone was always there alongside them laughing. It has been quite some time since he got to walk along Dongenzaka with Kotone.
Have you been lately? Well, with a newborn to look after, it's been pretty hectic, but there's never a dull moment. Things have been good.
I'm glad to hear it. Kotone was always as bright as a sunflower. Sometimes Tateno managed to convince himself that the sight of her was enough. Now he's holding the baby. Outside the bank, Kotone held Suzune out to him. Tateno received the baby with an anxious frown.
What's with the face?
I'm not good with babies. I haven't held one very often.
Oh, you'll be fine, don't worry. Just hold on to her for a minute while I take care of things inside.
Alright. He held the baby gingerly, like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Kotone chucked softly. Suzune stirred and squirmed at Tateno's arm. Yeah. She kind of has Kotone's eyes, he thought. It was strange, the sensation of holding a child. She was so soft and light, and yet such a real and responsive presence. The faint warmth of her body warmed Tateno's inwardly in turn. When Kotone returned after making her deposit, they strolled to a nearby park, Suzune back in her mother's arms.
Do you have any plans for marriage, Tateno?
I haven't thought about it. Work has me plenty busy.
Oh, that's just an excuse, Kotone said. There were really some woman you wanted to marry, you wouldn't let work stop you.
Then I suppose it's because there hasn't been anyone I felt that way about.
Really? Nobody? This whole time?
Yeah, really.
I see. But still,
seeing the two of you like this, it makes me realize how nice having a family could be. Tateno peered deeply into Suzune's face.
Well, if it ain't Tateno.
He looked up as a cheery voice got into conversation. Oh, it was Daisuke. What are you doing here? He asked his wife.
I could ask you the same question.
Come on, give me a break. I've come to make a deposit.
I've come to make a deposit for the.
I've come to make the deposit for the client.
In that case, no need to worry. I'll just take care of it myself. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Really?
Kotone smiled as Daisuke reached down and carefully lifted Suzune in his arms. Beaming happily as his daughter, he nuzzled up against her tiny cheek. Daisuke, Long time no see. Yeah, glad you're doing well for yourself, Tateno. They walked out side by side. Daisuke proudly showed off Suzune's drawing face. What do you think? Adorable, isn't she? Yeah. Luckily, she doesn't have your looks. Hey now! Bad-mouthing me the same as ever, huh? Some things hasn't changed since high school. Wanna drop by our place for a bit? Daisuke offered. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a job, actually. Tateno turned to glance at Katone. Oh shit! Somebody, and an instant later, Daisuke screamed, Katone! A man has come from behind his wife and now held a kitchen knife to her throat. Alright. Katone stood stiffly, frozen in terror. Probably, I don't know if it's a meth addict, but he looks creepy. Let her go! Tateno took a step forward the man. The slightly upturned eyes, the close-cropped hair, the thin mustache, all the details matched the description. This had to be the man Tateno was after.
Shut your damn mouth! You wanna try and kill me, huh? This lady here wants to try and kill me!
This man was babbling nonsense. The report has said the suspect was a tweaker. Right now, his mind was probably a complete mess from meth withdrawal. Left unchecked, there was no telling what he might do. Tateno shoved Daisuke behind him and drew his gun from his jacket.
Wait! Don't shoot! You'll kill Katone!
But Tateno ignored Daisuke's shout and trained his gun on the perp's shoulder. He was confident in his marksmanship. He never missed this range.
Tateno, please back down!
Daisuke pleaded, Susune still clutching his arms.
I beg you!
I can't, Tateno hissed under his breath. This isn't someone we can reason with. The assailant began waving his knife about. He could stab it into Katone at any moment. Tateno had to take the shot now. He aimed for the shoulder of the arm the man held his knife in.
Tateno, stop!
Daisuke shouted.
Don't do this!
For a brief moment, Tateno's eyes met Katone's. He thought he saw her give a tiny nod.
Don't shoot!
Yep. Shot his shoulder. The kitchen knife flung into the air. She was tossed aside. Now she's doing fine. The guy had another knife? He stabbed her in the back. Right in front of Daisuke and Tateno. It was all over in an instant. By the time Tateno had the perp subdued, Kotone's white shirt was soaked through with red. With Kotone's death, so too died Tateno's heart. Whatever feeling had lived inside him has been reduced to cinders, leaving only a never-ending need to atone. Countless times he thought of ending his life in order to make things up for Daisuke and his children. The only reason he didn't go through with it was he knew that would be the easy way out. And so, he stayed on as a detective. He would carry the weight of his sins with him for as long as he lived. Now we see a picture of baby Hachi and baby Suzune. Oh, it looks like he's 3-year-old or something, or 4. He looks cute too. Pretty beautiful children. Pretty babies all around. Pretty babies. This was a sentence Tateno gave himself. "15 years had passed since Kotone's death. For the first time, Tateno had gone to visit her grave. He was standing by the grave marker with his hand clasped when someone called out to him from behind. Excuse me!" A slender young girl stood there, flowers in hand. Tateno instantly recognized her. It was Susune. Oh! She looked up just like Kotone back in her high school days.
Did you know my mother?
She asked. Yes. We were classmates a long time ago.
Oh, really? Thank you so much for coming.
Suzume gave a slight bow and gazed at Tateno with her big bright eyes. You look just like her. Tateno struggled to hold back the tears. He felt as if Kotone stood before him, returned to life.
My father tells me the same thing all the time.
I'm sure once you're all grown up, you'll be just as beautiful as she was. A forlorn smile came to Suzune's face.
Once I'm grown up? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part when I'm going to die young.
Don't be ridiculous, Tateno exclaimed. Why would you say such a horrible thing? Suzune took a step backward, looking shocked to be rebuked by a stranger. My apologies, he said hurriedly. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's alright.
Suzune murmured, clutching the flower close.
Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself. But I'm sick, so there's not really anything I can do to change it.
Sick?
I have a heart condition.
A generic expression for illness pertaining to the heart, also referred to as heart disease. Includes things like heart failure, valvular heart disease, and so forth. Yeah, I think she has a valvular heart disease. Like her left ventricle is out of whack, and she has Bombay blood. So,
a transplant is the only thing that can help me, but my blood type is a little bit weird, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find me a compatible donor.
The immune system exists to get rid of foreign substances in the body. Often the patient's immune system will attack a transplanted organ, which can result in the organ failing or functioning poorly. To mitigate the risk of rejection, it is preferable for the donor and the recipient to have matching body tissues. In the case of a heart transplant, characteristics such as blood type and pre-sensitized antibodies, human leukocyte antigens, must be screened ahead of time. Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hands in silence. Tateno felt a wrenching pain inside him as if Kotone were being taken from him all over again. If there really was a God, why would he do such dreadful things? Is there nothing I can do? He nearly lamented aloud. I'll do anything. Suzune, I'll do whatever I have to do in order to save you. Tateno clenched his fist as he started at the grave. Tell me, Kotone, what can I possibly do for your daughter? Please tell me. Please. And so the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Tateno was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now. Fearing that something had happened to Suzune, Tateno answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once, he heard Daisuke's wailing. Suzune has a seizure! She might not come back from this one! Tateno's terrible suspicion has been right on the mark. He felt himself growing weak. Please! You need to shoot that girl you're with, that Hitomi Osawa! You need to shoot her in the head! If we have her heart, we can save Suzune! At first, Tateno couldn't make sense of what Daisuke was saying. Hurry up and shoot! Shoot her, please! Hitomi Osawa has the Bombay blood type! Wait, hold on, Tateno said, keeping his voice low. You want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why? He quickly scanned the area. Daisuke, are you nearby? Wait, where are you, Daisuke? Don't worry about that. If you can just render her brain dead, We'll be able to transport her out. We'll be able to transplant her heart into Suzune. The term brain dead refers to a state where the entire brain, including the brainstem, is beyond any recovery. In Japan, brain death is defined by Article 6 of the Act of Organ Transplantation, which states that brain death can only be declared with the goal of authorizing a transplant, and is subject to the judgment of at least 2 doctors inspecting the patients according to a preset process at least 6 hours apart. Whoa! Shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they will wind up brain dead. And even assuming it did, if Tateno shot the Asawa girl in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for heart transplant would surely have passed. Tateno! Shoot her, please!
Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that.
Hurry! It was like his old friend wasn't even listening to him.
Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, they would be able to perform a transplant.
Daisuke kept on shouting. It's fine! He'll be fine! I'll make the transplant work somehow!
You'll make it work?
Even knowing how ridiculous that was, part of Tateno wanted to know what he had in mind, if anything. I finally found it! I found something we can do for Suzune! Please, let me help her. Help me help her! Tateno understood Daisuke's feelings painfully well. To be helpless to stop the suffering of someone you loved. Nothing in the world hurt as much as that. I want to save Suzune! Tateno, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you. Tateno could hear choke weeping from the other end of the line. And at that sound, something inside him shifted.
Yes. Yes. Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening wasn't the issue. What mattered was that right now he could take action. He could do something for Suzune.
He mustered up his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart.
For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he loved.
Tateno checked the gun tucked inside his jacket, then slowly began making his way through the crowd towards Hitomi. That's when
Now you know why we're here.
Tateno gestured subtly with his gun, its barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. Kano's own gun wavered in his hand. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tateno now. And now he was sure of one thing. Words were never going to stop this man.
Kano,
Tateno said.
At my age, I've seen all sorts of young detectives come and go.
He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano.
And you're about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. Do you know how many formal apologies I have to write because of you?
Tateno let out a heavy sigh.
But you know, Kano, because of the way you look up to me, you've saved me.
And that's the truth. It sounded like a man speaking his last word.
Now come on! See if you can stop me!
He pressed the gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head. Detective Tateno! His finger wavered on the trigger. Shoot him! You have to shoot him! If you don't shoot him, Maria's going to die. He tried desperately to convince himself.
I am going to stop you.
Tateno looked coldly in the eye.
Do it then. Shoot me!
Kano stared right back. He tightened his finger on the trigger. To be continued! What a way to finish a chapter. But there's still more! She's done. Kano's done. Minori. Okay. So all that's left is Minorikawa. Sorry. Alright, I just finished my drink. I think I'm gonna manage. Get everything done before the end. Now she's eating it again. I almost forgot that part. Alright. So this is where she adjusts she turns up the volume. We have just learned the identity of the victim killed in the explosion. Shibuya's resident and a pharmaceutical executive. Shibuya resident? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Toyama didn't live in Shibuya. Once again, the victim of the explosion was Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka, age 40. The cause of the explosion remains unknown. The police are still in the process of following up several potential leads. The site of the incident remains an alarming scene with relief workers continuing to tend to the wounded. The four people in the editing office spoke in near unison. Huh? Who's Tanaka? What? It ended there, to be continued? Alright. So, am I going to finish the stream like this? Is there anything after that? What fates lies in store for our 5 Entry Pigs heroes, now reduced to 4? Yes, there's 4 people left. Are you scared about meeting with your father? Someone broke into our firewall. I'm sorry, Mr. Nino. You'll lose everything. Be sure to be there for the finale of 428 Shibuya Scramble. Alright. Running out of time. So this is the final hour, folks. Let's see, yeah. Yeah, now there's only 4 people left. Maria's gone. It stops at Osawa, Minorikawa, Kano, and